welcome everyone from Twitch. Thank you again for joining Storm King's Thunder. We're about to go into episode 10, but I want to go ahead and provide you with the map of everything that happened in episode 9 and kind of show you starting way back in Daggerford and making our way all the way through to Uluvin was the most recent city that they're still in a Cloud Giant's tower. And before I go any farther, Smurf, are you ready with the...
I'm not, but I can ad-lib it. I can do it.
Yeah, do it. We're gonna keep things going from Arjak's point of view.
Okay, so last time on Storm King's Thunder, the group works into some city I don't remember the name of. Uluvin, and they're kind of kidnapped by two kids. Albie and Lashana? Maybe?
That's close enough.
Sure. And they kidnap, I think it was Traben. And we learn about... Was it Traben or was it Gesh? I don't remember. Traben. And we learn about a bunch of dumb giants in the city. So Arjak, with his infinite wisdom and intelligence, rolls on in and burns down a tree with incense to distract the giants. We then, instead of negotiating, decide to go murder hobos and kill 2 out of the 3 giants, trying to steal from them their shiny trinket. The last one gets away by throwing a rock at us, and we're just kind of sitting around dumbfounded because giants.
Yes. One disco beat later, we're
right.
now on episode 10. All right, so again, this is kind of the map. We're using Gesh now as our icon. The group is headed to Goldenfields. We're going to kind of speed play some of this part. We actually filmed something, and I didn't tell Matt this, but we actually filmed the game that we played. And so if it's okay with you, we might add it to the list of all the stuff so we can find out what happened with the Halfling and how he's making his way to Goldenfields at a later date. I would not have posted that, though, because you all have to meet for the first time in Goldenfields. So the group is headed to Goldenfields. They're still riding a cloud, and they made it back to Zephyr's cloud structure. And with that in mind, we're continuing on with the program.
His hatted tower.
Pardon me?
His hatted tower.
His hatted tower.
Show the picture. You have to show the picture.
Tower.
Oh, that's right. Let me see if I can grab the picture real quick.
Do we have to climb all like 300 steps back up?
Oh yeah, he doesn't. In fact, if anything, he's actually kind of risen the tower a little bit higher and added more steps for you to climb. He's done it so that you don't have to necessarily, actually scale the wall, but at the same time, it's higher up in the sky. I'm guessing Aiden rolled a Constitution check to make sure she wasn't afraid of heights.
Sure, we'll roll with that. No, it was to see if she could climb the 500 stairs.
Oh, okay.
It was truly a Constitution check.
Let's see. Let me get these NPC portraits. No, you know what? That's not the important one. Let's get the images, and we're going to get...
I mean, come on, Aiden. You're the vegan health nut of the group. You're in great shape.
Yeah. Vegan? I can't see vegan being muscular and strong, no. No, she's not totally vegan. She eats what there is to eat.
So, again, this is the means of transportation that the party currently has. The hatted cloud transportation of a tower. And it's floating at a really good pace. You all make it back to Zephyr, who is welcomes you in and waits patiently for everyone else to actually come in, sit down. The one thing that you notice when you arrive is the absolute lack of noise that would come with Elsandra, your halfling wild mage. And when you arrive, you kind of see Zephyros pacing back and forth, and he's like, I got some okay news, well, some mediocre news, and I got 2 pieces of really bad news. And he's like, it's better if I just wait for everyone to arrive. So slowly but surely, Traben with his heavy armor makes it up the last step to into the tower. He also kind of wants to make sure. Time. Oh yes, with Gesh pointing at his watch as Traben makes it the last way up, and the cloud giant kind of sits cross-legged in the middle of the room, and he's like, "I know you're tired, but I think this is kind of really important information to tell you. So the okay news or the mediocre news. I think I watched your fight when you were in Uluvin, and I think I know that you guys were really eager to get that gear from that last giant that parted ways with you, and I can tell you that gear, just a regular gear. There's nothing magical about it. So from that standpoint, at least you didn't lose anything. And then the bad news, and he keeps choking up. He's like, okay, I got 2 pieces of bad news, and he's like,
Hold on, Brian. I don't think you ever got out your medium news because you froze, and then you're
I froze. Well, hopefully the stream didn't think that. So the mediocre news was that the hill giant that ran away, the gear that he was carrying was not magical. It was simply a gear for some sort of thing that would be large to construct, but not magical.
What could be that large?
He kind of looks down, even cross-legged, at all of you and goes, "Don't look at me."
They're giants. Everything they build is large.
But the hill giants don't build things. They just run around going, smash, eat, roar.
Sounds like my Tuesday night.
And what have you ever built?
Well, you know my longbow. I actually built that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But you're not a hill giant.
No.
Maybe way back in the family tree?
I mean, way back. I mean, somewhere something got crossed, but we don't talk about that.
No, I don't. I'm not sure his tree does branch. Yeah.
Just a big stump.
So the bad news. So I have 2 things of bad news to tell you. The first one is that your little halfling friend couldn't keep up with you, so she kind of turned back around and came back to the tower, and we were having a good time with our little spell games, and she asked me a couple questions about the tears in fabric that I make, and I can't really control them very well, so I don't try to create more than one. But I kind of showed her like the beginnings of one, and he starts doing it again, and he goes, "I mean, just trust me, the sky tears." She really wanted to know where it went, and before I could say don't go in there, she disappeared. I don't know where she's at.
I mean, it was her choice. It was her choice to go in it, right? You didn't toss her in.
No. How? That's horrible.
No, then you're fine. We ain't worried about that.
Were you attempting to make a connection with some place specific?
Well, no, not. That's why I feel a little bit of extra guilt here, because I was just showing her how I could do it. I didn't. And then next thing I know, she goes, "Hey, that's cool!" And all of a sudden disappears into the hole. And it closed up because I wasn't trying to create a real one, not a real tear. I can't find her. I've tried. I've looked for in my tear upstairs. I've looked for her quite a few places, and I just can't find her. So, anyways, on to Goldenfields.
Let's go. I mean, it sounds like she went doing what she really wanted to do, and isn't that all that we can ask for?
Well, he's looking around the room, and actually, give me just 1 second. Yeah, so he's looking around the room, and all of you looking back at him as he's telling his story, and he doesn't notice anything that he would perceive as y'all being upset with him, so that's what caused him to just kind of like stand up and goes, "Well, I guess we'll get you to Goldenfields."
She was kind of precocious and, well...
She was mean to chickens.
I like everyone's expression at Aiden's comment. So the other thing that he kind of like looks over his shoulder again and goes, I'll remember what that second thing is at some point. And he just keeps walking. Because he told you there were 2 pieces of bad information.
Well, I'll ask him. What was the other bad thing?
Rack your brain, sir.
Think.
Did it have to do with the
Griffins? I don't know. Let me go visit the tear again, and just he like kind of launches himself up to the next floor, and you kind of, even from where you're sitting, you kind of see him stick his head into this thing, and it disappears. The first front of his face is just gone into sky. So he's gonna take a little bit.
Oh, wow! Sorry.
And he takes such a long time kind of with his head in this tear that it starts to, nightfall hits. You guys are coming back kind of later in the afternoon anyways. Nightfall hits. He hasn't like laid out his usual supper for you. He seems very fixated at this particular tear in the sky that he's created. And you basically, I need to know what the party's doing, or if there's anything you need to do. He doesn't make a reappearance he's not going to be making a reappearance for quite some time.
I mean, I'll sharpen my axes.
Yeah, I mean, the normal. I mean, I guess as far as Traven's concerned, he will, actually, he has a question to ask Gesh.
Okay.
And he will actually look him sternly in the face.
Oh, dear.
And say, please explain to me the shadows that creep from a creature after you have ended their life and seem to enter you. What is this?
No. Excellent question. Let me see if I can find simple, small words to explain this to you. Wait, now. Well, you see, being part of the dragon kind, part of my heritage is the ability to, as a conquest of a foe, take on a small tithing, an offering of their life force, and use it as a shield in myself, proving my superiority over themselves. So for a temporary small amount of time, I shroud myself in a reward of conquest of their life essence that will protect me from other foes attacking me.
So you are not sucking their soul away from them?
I myself particularly don't have that nomenclature in my discussion, what a soul is, what a soul is not. But as far as I understand it, no, it is not anything dealing with their afterlife or wherever that mystical, tristical stuff you like to pray about goes to. No, it is merely the remains of their life essence, if you will.
That doesn't sound like a dragon thing. That I can't do that.
Can I insight check?
Wow, Aiden actually says that?
Yeah.
Can I insight check to see if he's full of baloney?
Oh, sure.
A public or private?
Let's do it private, and also, Gesh, if you feel like there is anything that you're hiding in the conversation, go ahead and roll a deception check as well.
He is not. He firmly believes everything he's just saying.
Okay. Well, let me put it to you this way, Arjack. Your dice roll would have meant that even if he thought he was bold-faced lying, you would have been like, that's a new trick. It must be why he's red and not gold. I get it.
Gold is good. Gold is good. Red is bad.
And Traven will say, I have never seen such a thing, and I only asked to make sure that you are not evil.
Oh, well, you can sense evil, can you not?
No.
Supposedly?
No, I cannot sense evil whatsoever. I can sense the presence of fiends.
I can.
You can sense evil?
Yes.
No. Answer the question.
Oh,
Am I evil?
I can't right now. I would have to pray. I would have to pray for the ability.
Oh, there you go. I will lay myself available to any judgment on such things. I assure you, I have no evil intentions to none except for my foes who don't consider what I do to them a good thing, which I'm okay with.
Well, in my culture, we find out the truth or not by beating the baloney out of someone until either we find the truth or we learn it's not the truth. We could go that route.
Yes, but we've already seen the embarrassment of arm wrestling with you, so we know the truth of that.
Oh no,
Yeah.
we'd all beat you together.
Oh.
I
Oh,
think
your
you're-
tribe. Not us, but your tribe would beat him collectively.
You're kind of my herd at this point, so no, it would be all of us.
No, I'm not.
I hope you're not insinuating that he's bad because he's dragon.
Oh, I'm not.
Oh,
no.
man.
Okay.
I've just never seen that shadowy essence of whatever leaving a victim of that type of damage, and I've never seen that, and I had to ask. I've read books and such of soul sucking and stealing spirits, and I had to make sure that I am not.
I'm made
Finding
into distress
myself
which
with
need
an
to be
evil.
rescued and a future life of happiness and prosperity due to trial and tribulation. I understand. But I assure you, I have no interest in anybody's afterlife. As a matter of fact, I don't really fully believe in it.
If he was doing soul sucking, wouldn't he have to have a straw for that?
Traven totally ignores him.
I don't think it sounds like particularly good magic, though.
Well, magic is use of the arts is simply, there is no such thing as good or evil when it comes to use of the arts. It's the individual that's making use of the art.
I need everyone to make a dexterity save for me real quick.
Oh,
Oh no!
This should be
Oh.
painful.
The target DC was 15. So Traven's the only one, as he's saying this, is like standing put, but the whole cloud is moving at a pace all of a sudden that's 2 times as fast as it was ever moving before, and the sudden jolt of movement. Arjek, you kind of look up as you find yourself in a somersault kind of motion to one end of the tower, and in between that you kind of peek up and you see that he's with his face still in the tear. His arm has like reached over to the globe and it's like it just like moved it over just slightly, and it's the cloud is taking off at a ridiculous pace, much faster than it was before.
I'm gonna
Hello.
hold on to my gear very tightly as I tumble.
Hello up there.
So
Hello.
everyone who isn't Traven has basically kind of like rolled over to one side of the wall of the inner part of the tower, and Traven's been like standing there, just able to barely catch his footing.
The question is, in what order do we hit the wall and do we land on top of each other?
You don't land on top of one another, but it's nightfall. Y'all have a time to sleep. He does not respond to any sort of interaction while his head is in the tear. The next morning, he kind of lifts his head finally out of it and looks down at the thing and goes, "I'm sorry if I startled you all." It's clear in the way that he's speaking, he doesn't think he's put his head in the tear for more than a couple seconds. And he goes, "I just know that it's really, really important to get to Goldenfields. By the way, do y'all know much about Goldenfields?"
I mean, I heard the fields are golden.
well,
Sounds like a nice place to me, at least.
Traven has been there.
Oh, so did you want a rundown of what Goldenfields is?
Now, question, was Arjek and Traven working together when Traven visited there? Remember, beginning of the story, we escorted the dudes into Daggerfell.
It's a
Working on the
different
same-
caravan.
Gotcha.
Wait a minute. No, I changed his backstory. He has not been to. I was
He
checking
only
real quick.
thinks he's been.
He's heard of it because it's near Waterdeep. He's from Waterdeep, and the road to Goldenfield. He knows where it's at, but he's never personally been there. So we will backtrack a little bit.
Okay. I've never been there. That
Never
sounds
been.
intriguing.
I've heard of
Who
the
are all
village.
of you people?
So
I
he
believe it's
floats.
in town.
He floats right back down to the first floor where everyone is currently stationed at, and you can still see the tear in the sky that he had stuck his head through. And he kind of looks around, and his eyes kind of readjust a little bit when he comes back down because there's not windows really in that middle section. And all of a sudden, there's all this light coming. He's like, "How long was I in there?"
Overnight.
Huh.
That's good amount of time.
Surprising. And all of a sudden, there's this golden shaft of wheat that comes straight out of the tear, wraps around Zephyros's neck, and then for the next couple minutes he starts speaking, and just like y'all can say whatever you want, but he's not going to stop his speech as he's going. He goes,
It's
Goldenfields is a huge walled temple farm dedicated to Shantae, the goddess of agriculture, called the Granary of the North. It is the only reason many northerners ever taste soft-fleshed fruit larger than bush berries. Water-deep and its neighbors consume the temple's reliable output, carefully husband grains and dried oil-packed or salted foodstuffs, preserved in vast storage cellars, vats, and squat stone grain towers. Run by a particular abbot, Goldfields is the stronghold of the Emerald Enclave. Members of that faction are welcome here as clergy of Shantae. Many of them stay for months at a time to help with the work of the vigilant defense of the farm against the insects and the blights, as well as the would-be vandals and plunderers. Hired guards and adventurers patrol the walls and the land immediately around them. Inside the farm, young treants allied with the Emerald Enclave hide within the strands of tree, ready to animate trees to repel invaders. More than 5,000 people live and work in Goldenfields year-round, farming more than 20 square miles of tillage in gangs of hard-working gardeners. And right as that ends, the wheat shaft disappears, and he's like, "So did you guys want to know a little bit about Goldenfields?"
Shantae, come back.
I believe you just gave us a pretty good rundown, Sir Giant.
Alrighty then.
As Traven continues to look at the tear in the upper chamber.
It pulses with a glow, but from your earlier scan of the area, not quite sure whether or not from where you're standing you can reach that high for your determination of if there's a fiend around. It's might be right at the edge, but nothing alarmed you earlier.
Well, that's really not what he's thinking. He's thinking that I can't think of the word, but a symbol or a living symbol of the grain goddess just jumped out of there and wrapped itself around this giant. And he's actually thinking that perhaps this giant has created a hole into the domain of the deities. So he's kind of like, just wondering.
Okay.
It's not going to do anything. Just parking that in the back of his brain for maybe future use.
Okay. Zephyros, over the next 2 days, y'all can do whatever you want, but the tower continues to proceed to Goldenfields, and it continues to move towards Goldenfields, and it's interesting because all the forestry kind of disappears, or it creates little packets of forestry, and right at about a day's travel out from Goldenfields, you see this immense walled fortress that, again, is kind of a temple kind of dedicated to Shantae. I'm going to send everyone the Goldenfields map so you kind of get a sense of its size. Each one of those areas is hundreds of acres of particular groupings of food. So like in the very top area, you have cornfields. There's a hops fields because there's a lot of ale that gets exported out of Goldenfields as well. Pumpkin patches, and you can almost see, because the area is so large, you can cleanly see these delineations upon where farming areas have begun and ended, and you could see that there's just a variance of food populace that is within the city. Kind of the let me give you a
So
Right.
are you saying? Sorry, are you saying each little square is hundreds of acres, or each section of the city?
Each section of the city.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you.
Okay. And I'm saying the smallest of them is hundreds of acres. So
Right.
the larger ones are far greater. Where the pink square is, that kind of encapsulates the entire area in which the town of Goldenfields and effectively 500 people are living. And again, to kind of give you the scale of the world that this is living in. Okay.
Okay.
You know, Daggerford would easily fit in that center circle.
Wow.
Okay. So this entire area is dedicated to the notion of plant, agriculture, harvesting. Clerics of Shantea, hint, hint, would feel just immense pride at this living, breathing construct dedicated to Shantea. So, again, you kind of arrive on the floating tower to the town. The Zephyros has very plainly stated that he's not going to drop you into the city. In fact, he's not going to approach so fast that I don't want to alarm them in case anyone within the city limits is worried about giants. I'm going to park effectively outside of Goldenfields, and he he takes a minute to kind of shrink himself down to kind of a Goliath size, and he extends his hand out to each and every one of you. And so I need to know whether or not you're going to take it, because he's there to shake your hands.
Yes, will do.
And so he kind of leans forward and tells Traben, when they shake hands, he goes, "I'll keep looking for her," is what he says.
Please do.
He shakes Gesh's hand, and he goes, "Be careful with gifts." Then he reaches forward and shakes Arjak's hands and goes, I'm glad that you're finding that rebuilding your family will mean something more. He reaches out a hand to Aiden. Does Aiden shake his hand?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So he shakes your hand and he goes, don't lose faith even when times get tough, because unfortunately I think they will.
You can't lose what you don't have.
Okay.
No, she doesn't.
He's really confused by that, and he goes, I can't remember why I told you that. And then he kind of regrows, and he also lets Aiden know that he apologizes, but he's needed elsewhere. So this is where we're last convening with Zephyros.
So, from our vantage point, does Goldenfields look like it has been attacked or is being attacked?
Neither. All the fields are in pristine condition. The walls aren't all... I mean, there's an immense sense that the walls have not been maintained quite as hard as they need to be for being such a large area. There's areas where the walls have been maintained fairly well, and then there's areas where you can see an erosion too great to miss, even from a certain height.
Right.
The wall itself is really impressive, though. So if you can imagine, you have this plain, and then there's this kind of like slight elevation of the earth, and then the walls come up. Okay.
Yeah.
And so all the wall area is 15 feet tall, and it's really impressive. They have a series of towers that run along it at every. I want to say I'd say approximately, a mile or two apart.
Right.
There's clear that there's kind of like a landing area for people on the inside of the tower to kind of align archers to knock arrows and shoot them down. So he will drop you off on the trail leading to the gatehouse, which is right. Let me give you some direction here. Why am I having... there we go. So you're going to be heading up this way to the gatehouse. Do y'all see it on the map?
Yep.
So he lands the tower quite a ways away, drops off stairs. It's not the 500 feet. He comes down a little bit, but it's still 50 feet of stairs that you guys will climb down before you make your way towards the tower. Y'all are free to take you collect your gatherings and everything, make your way down the cloudy staircase, and you kind of see it slowly take off. And there's an immense overwhelming feeling that everyone kind of has with the loss of such a aid that wasn't directly related to your outings, but just that immensely fast travel disappearing again, and you all returning to the notion of traveling at a much slower pace through what feels like it's going to be a greater adventure. So, y'all approach the tower. I'm sorry, Arjak?
No. You were just going to talk to Traben as they walked, but...
Oh, no, please. So, y'all are traveling to the gatehouse. Go ahead.
You know what I'm going to miss the most?
The pillows?
The pillows.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be the big chicken rock wings.
Nah, it's the pillows.
Okay.
They were soft, weren't they?
Yeah. Awesome. Okay, so y'all approach these towers, and like I said, the road itself ramps up, leading to past the ground elevation that occurs, and there are people on manning the wall, and they politely but sternly ask, "Please state your business here at Goldenfields."
Aiden, these are your people.
I don't know them.
But your charisma's way higher than ours, so go ahead.
What's our purpose here?
The note.
We have a note.
The guards look at each other and they go, "From who?"
And I'll hold up my holy symbol.
Oh, well,
they have to let me in.
You don't need a reason. Open the gates. And so
they're with me.
The gates start rising. It's a portcullis that then leads to a set of staunch double doors on the other side. Portcullis opens, doors open inward. You kind of see the city moving about. They kind of check to kind of note your holy symbol, and they kind of ask you, Aiden, for your home base of like where you're from, originally from your Shantea organization.
Harvest House in Daggerford.
Okay, so they take notes and immediately start. They send out a raven. They're like, "We please ask that you stay in the city center. We can make accommodations, especially if we have a follower of Shantea. The arrangements have been made for you. You don't have to pay. You'll find it in the Golden Leaf. That's the name of the inn that's in the center of Goldenfields. Kind of our traveling, kind of when we're verifying someone's kind of documentation, we kind of ask people to stay there for one day for us to provide clarification and ensure that people are who they say they are." Is that acceptable?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we don't really have a say in it, do we?
Well, no, but it's we're trying to extend a kindness here, right? Like we're not demanding. We're just simply saying we would like you to stay here so that we can verify your cleric's credentials, and we only allow a number of people that we don't have knowledge that are arriving ahead of time in our borders at a time. So
Aiden's also an alkalite, so she is shelter of the faithful.
Okay. So then honestly, by the time you make it to the Golden Leaf, there's a likelihood that I'm going to speed forward on that then. You actually make it to the Golden Leaf. They actually they know about you ahead of time. or better yet, you kind of give the right Shantae hand signals, and all of a sudden they're like, oh yeah, she's in the know,
She's throwing
that kind of thing.
She's throwing religious gang signs.
Yeah, exactly. And so the guards who kind of escorted you to the thing, it's like, well, then that's great. We don't have, then you're free to roam as you wish. But if you, as a follower of Shantae, the Golden Leaf is always available to you and your compatriots for free of charge. There's other slightly nicer establishments, but those you'd have to pay for.
Is there somewhere where we could get a bath? And he kind of holds up his arm, and he still has the inked on script from the page because they haven't had a bath in a while.
Yeah.
The guards kind of look at you, kind of tilt their head a little bit. There's a bathhouse next door. It's associated with the inn, and they walk back to manning their posts, and you kind of hear in the background this like kind of creaking portcullis lower back down.
Is there any of them that look more senior in rank?
Like the one I picked up?
You mean from the guards, or
yes?
Yeah.
So the guards, are you going to ask? I mean, there's a series of guards, and they kind of, all the ones that you've been introduced to they're all human, and they range from maybe, probably 20 to 30 years of age.
Are they all dressed exactly the same?
Absolutely.
Traven will just ask them, who amongst you is the leader of this group?
And they go, that's kind of a interesting question. There is the notion of two sets of leadership within the town. There is the abbot, who is basically the town mayor, for lack of a better word. And his name is... Abbot Elardin Darovic. So Ellardin Darovik. And he is... Like I said, he's more or less the town mayor, but there is another person who's actually in charge of the city watch. And I cannot find his name anywhere right now.
That's fine. I mean, he was basically asking about this unit of soldiers, though.
Yeah. So that would be the head of...
Eventually, he was... Go ahead.
I'm sorry. So that would be the head of the city watch. And I'm just going to give him a name.
Okay.
Because I can't find it. Hold on.
We can revisit it. We can put...
Okay, no, it's Hantanus Tarm.
All right, give me that one.
Hantanus Tarm.
Tarm. How fitting.
And when they say his name, they say it with a sense of respect and at the same time kind of smugness. Like, Hantanus Tarm.
Is there a way to get a meeting or an audience with Lord Tarm?
So he always has kind of an open air list, because he also acts more or less as a bit of a judge within Goldenfields. So they have open air kind of comments from the people every mid 10 week. So right now you're effectively at the second day of your 10 week, and 2 days would be the open air communication.
I don't know that this information can wait. Does he have an office or a quarter somewhere where I could go and talk to him?
He does, but he's constantly trying to manage and negotiate the reconstruction of the wall. So I don't know if he's going to...
Let me put it this way, young man. We have information that leads us to believe that your town, your city, will be under attack. Is there some way I could show this to him?
And the minute you say that, he bursts into laughter. He's like, "Oh my gosh, there is a halfling you have to meet in the center of town. He's hanging out with this dwarf guy. I can't. I please talk to him before you ask about seeing him tantum."
So Arjak kind of leans in as the guy's laughing, kind of over the shoulder, like.
Okay.
And he's like, "Do we look like we're laughing?"
He's like, "Yeah, just go talk to them. Just go talk to them and come back to me when you're done. If you still think there's something to worry about."
I do not think. I know. I mean, is it not your duty to protect this village, this town?
Wait.
The people that reside within it?
Excuse me, sir. You're not trying to state that I'm not doing my job, are you?
Oh,
Yes, I am.
Okay, now I'm slightly offended. We'll see you in 2 days.
And now the bath goes farther and farther away.
The what?
The bath.
The bath. Meal. Drinks.
So, he kind of dismisses you. He's like, "I do apologize. We don't have so many people manning this wall that I can afford to send someone to go find Tantantum." And he's anywhere on the wall, which is another reason why, if you want to go find him...
He cuts him off. He says, "You remember one thing, sir. That Torm tells us that the brave man, inattentive to his duty, is worth little more to his country than the coward who deserts her in the hour of danger." And he spins and he walks away towards the center of town.
You kind of hear...
Oh, no, he didn't.
Yeah. You hear two guards speak to one another, and they're not saying it quiet enough that you can't hear. They go, "Man, how do you get all that out without taking a breath?"
As Arjak walks away, he's not as eloquent. He just kind of goes.
And all Gesh is going to do is just bath this way, right?
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah. So you all make it to the center of town. Again, it's a bus, kind of there's a lot of activity in town, but it's far more, you're noticing that certain areas of the city are being harvested while others are being sowed. And those places that are being harvested, they're being carefully packaged into particular crates and being prepared on various carriages, covered wagons, in order to be sent out of the city to the various different cities that they support through the harvest within Goldenfields. In the middle, at one point, you see the golden leaf. Its sign is made of pure gold, and it glints in the sunlight. So there's no question that this is the place.
Okay.
One of the things that would run through any rogue's mind, it would be, how's that sign still there?
So it's a gold leaf.
Yes, it absolutely is, and it's sized about yay big and about yay thick. So it'd be easy to necessarily take down, and it would probably be melted for north of 1,000 gold pieces. So you walk in.
How high off is it?
No, Arjak.
Wait, no. Is it a swinging sign, or is it nailed to the wall?
It's swinging.
How high off the ground is it?
11.5 feet.
Never mind. I was going to try to bite it to see if it was real gold.
Oh. Sorry, Arjak. So you go in, and there's a tavern inside the Golden Leaf that, like, kind of, as you walk in, it splits right away. Taverns to your left, a kind of a maitre d' of sorts to the right, a concierge to and it's really, really super polite. You all remember what happened to you when you were kind of ushered in quickly into Daggerford and kind of thrown into a warehouse area, and this is not the case here. This wayward establishment, even if they were saying, well, there's nicer places in here, you're kind of like, wow, they'd have to be incredibly nice. The concierge, you hear him say, "Can I help you?" But behind you, you can hear just slightly in not perfect common, but kind of a hint of a Dorish accent speaking. And he's just like, I'm telling you, the hill giants, they're coming. I don't know how much more I can speak.
We hear this.
Well, yeah, because he's not being quiet at all. And it's the second he says it, the concierge is like, please excuse our other more animated guests.
Who is that? What does he speak of?
I have to be honest with you, sir. I have not made my acquaintance with them just yet. When I leave work in the middle of the night, I go home and sleep to avoid the headache that is nonstop from the caterwauling that comes from the tavernish area between both him and his halfling compatriot.
Where's the halfling?
Matt, where are you?
Yeah, I'll basically be almost hiding beside the dwarf, hidden behind him. And you guys see this swashbuckler-like clothed halfling, black bushy beard, long sweeping mustache. Most halflings don't have facial hair, but you don't know if this is plastered on for real or if it's well grown. He almost stands with a kind of Captain Morgan's ad kind of pose. And you see he almost has a snapping kind of mannerism about him. And with every snap, a puff of air blows him Fabio style. And you might hear the odd little twinkling of bells as he does it too. And I've got the camera set up just high enough for me, so hopefully you get the effect of me being small. I'm actually 6'4" and 350 pounds. So, but yeah, you hear Molinar pipe up in a little bit of a Gaelic, Irish lilt to his voice, and you hear him say, "You know, you promised that I'd be saving the world, and Goldenfields is the whole breadbasket of the North, but I've been out back working the damn fields you've have me doing, and that's just not very heroic to me."
Are you talking to the dwarf?
He's saying that to the dwarf?
Yeah, to
okay.
the dwarf Onyx Bean.
He's like, come on, we made it all the way here from Waterdeep. You know that for a fact that it is coming. The giants, they are coming.
You keep saying that, but my ass is still sore from the damn long ride. You didn't even let us rest very long.
Well, I was afraid they were going to be here before we were here. I'm sorry that we've been here nearly a 10-day.
Yeah, Molinar shakes his head and looks at his tiny thimble of liquid that he's drinking.
So
Raven will elbow Gesh and make his way elbow Gesh and Arjax. And motion to Aiden. That's who we need to speak to. They know of the problems.
Arjack
head in that direction.
So Arjack heads that way?
No, Arjack goes to the bar.
Oh, okay. The bartender looks at you for a second and goes, sir, the bathhouse is next door.
Right. First, ale delivered.
Okay.
And he kind of points over his shoulder. And he goes, and I'm going to take one with me.
Okay, that'll be a silver.
For everything?
No. For the one you're taking with you. We'll collect when we send you the next one.
Sure.
Okay, so.
Ho, dwarf and halfling. Oh, great, giant, fearful ones.
Oh, hi, I'm Molinar.
Pleasure to meet you, Miller. I am Gesh. This is
Hi,
my squire, Traven, and of course, the lovely Aiden.
Do I hear you say that?
Oh, yeah. Hi, Traven. Hi, Traven the Squire.
Traven is not a squire, sire.
Oh, I am no sire, Squire.
Oh! So I could not help but overhear that you have some concern and desire to dispose of giants.
So wait a minute, who are you talking to?
To the dwarf and the halfling who are arguing to one another.
Okay, so I think the dwarf will step on whatever the halfling's about to say because someone is listening to him, right?
Yeah, and I start pointing towards the dwarf like, there's no way I'm going to get a word in.
And I go, so he goes, hello there, sir. My name is Grimly Onyxvein, And I've been traveling most of Faerun, warning people about the impending doom from the giants. Mostly in this area, it's all going to be hill giants. I even took a stop in Ulivin before I made my way to Waterdeep.
You too have been to Ulivin.
I did. I told them, I warned them, you create some defenses. They had nothing. There was no wall. There was no army. They had at least 4 or 5 hill giants headed their way.
Less now.
How's that, sir?
We stopped by.
You've been to Ulivin.
I'll brush the scalp on my shoulder. Oh, yes, indeed, we have. We have been to Ulivin and have taken care of their irritating invaders, shall we say.
At that moment...
We.
Oh, by the way, did I introduce you to Aiden the Slaughterer?
So Aiden, I'm gonna have something happen, because even though I haven't asked you whether or not you're wearing it, but I'm gonna assume you're wearing the Giant Slayer pendant from Gahia.
Giant Slayer pendant?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't you remember? She gave you that really cool piece of bling.
Oh, right.
And you killed the first giant. As always, the slaughterer of the group, you killed our first giant. At Amir, first level, I'd like to point out.
Yes, Aiden would be wearing it, but it might be kind of tucked behind her holy symbol that's around her neck, so...
Yeah, well,
I got a bunch of layers of...
Yeah.
I got some bling, yeah.
Well, his keen Dwarven sense of perception, he actually sees it directly kind of flopping right behind your holy symbol, and he just goes, "Where did you get that pendant?"
Why?
Who
are you that I should tell you?
I often taught many people that came to the north on how to defend themselves against giants. I'm very much aware of. There are only 5 of those pendants made.
Well, I got it from one of them.
You didn't kill them, did you?
No.
It was gifted to you?
Yes.
Ah, my lady, he's up on top of the tables, by the way. He's not on the ground. He's like, he's been trying to get everyone's attention. He's like, immediately takes a knee on top of the table and goes, I'm honored to be in your presence. This is a rare honor for a dwarf to witness someone who's been, gifted this particular runed symbol.
This makes me
got
uncomfortable.
That from Jahia, right?
And I hide behind Gash.
Okay, well, he's not reaching his hands out. He's literally just kneeling in front of you. Okay.
Yeah, no. Remember, I'm trusting of strangers.
Yes. And he goes, and again, Onyx immediately turns to Molinar and goes, I told, see, this is exactly the thing that I was telling you. I'm so glad that the gods have sent us more people to actually understand our cause.
Well, at least they're not farmers this time. You're right.
There's nothing wrong with farming. Aiden calls out from behind Gash.
Hi. There's nothing wrong with farming, my lass, but there's definitely something wrong with farmers being the only things to protect the northern realms. As Molinar looks at the dwarf again. You
wanted a chance to prove yourself. Ain't nothing more able to be proven than dealing with a whole horde of giants and approaching and having no one but basically yourself to depend on.
I just wanted a big crowd in a tavern, but yeah, you're right. That's definitely something to prove myself with.
So to your point, my small friend, giants do tend to carry quite a bit of stuff with them, which can then indeed be liquidated into bigger times at said tavern.
Oh, okay. Now you've got me thinking. Yeah, I think I do want to protect the realms against these giants.
You mean the stuff like the dead fish, Gesh?
Oh yeah, we got big money for that. Don't forget the plate. But these things have also been stealing food wherever they've gone, and once giants have stolen the food, there's much less to eat for the rest of us, which is really depressing. These rations only taste good for so long.
So, as the conversation's going on, off in the bathhouse, there's a muffled, like, singing bellowing as Arjak bathes.
Okay.
Nice.
RJ, you happen to notice as you kind of step into, because it's these really large communal type baths. It's not individual baths, right? So there's 3 of them, and you have these people, washing up of different ages and genders, and they're all, getting the grime out. There's kind of like one type of person here at Goldenfields, and that is farmer. That's it.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So there's no sense of it's not there's nothing dirty about it other than the dirt that they have all over their body that they're coming to clean up, right?
Of course.
And so as they're washing up, you kind of hear them kind of talks amongst themselves. There's a small partition of the group that's in there that are starting to believe that there might be a impending giant threat, but the vast majority of people, like if you polled the area, you'd be like, yeah, this is probably like 70% of the people don't believe that there's anything to worry about. Maybe 10% are on the fence, and 20% now are starting to think that. Actually, no, you probably would have been like, there's like 80% of people who don't believe it, and about 10% of people who are on the fence, and then there's probably 17% of people that believe it, and then there's 4% of people that really believe it, and then there's maybe one person over here that you're like, wow, he sounds just like the dwarf inside.
Okay.
Totaling more than 100%.
Yeah. He's just there to get clean. He's very careful with his dreadlocks, though, to keep them, like, on top of his head.
You're actually really impressed by the fact that people kind of move out of your way to give you sufficient space within these. I mean, the baths are these huge circles, right?
Like
and
Roman
it
style,
probably
yeah.
is diameter-wise 12 feet across.
Oh.
I mean, they're really nice.
So
But
I take up
Go ahead.
substantial space in this.
Yes, and they kind of grant you that space. They kind of move away to make sure that you can, because you have to kind of kneel down to get everywhere.
Yeah.
I'm
Okay,
saying?
I got you.
So they never do bring you that second drink.
Oh.
Sorry, but you do enjoy the first one.
Yeah, shower beer.
So meanwhile, back in the tavern. Okay. So Traven or Aiden. John disappeared. Molinar.
Oh.
Any one of the 3 of you have continued discussion?
Well, go ahead.
I was just going to note too for Molinar that Aiden is smaller than most Dragonborn.
Okay.
Yeah, she's not even 6 feet tall.
Still a lunky though.
Still much bigger than a halfling, but
That's very, yeah.
not as big as Gash.
Gotcha. Yeah, you notice I kind of steer towards the smaller in the group, which is I guess a dwarf right now that introduced us, but otherwise I'll probably latch on to the smallest person in the group, which may be you, then Aiden.
So
Yeah, I think she is. Yeah.
Onyx extends his hand out to each and every one of you, kind of in turn, just kind of going, I can't seem to get them to listen to me. And last time they had the open air discussion, I was the only one who was willing to speak, and no one believed that any potential threat could hit Goldenfields. They keep talking about how impenetrable the walls are.
Who of us has the note?
I think Elisandra gave you the note, Traven. You're talking about the one with the symbol on it?
Yes.
So for those of you out in Twitchland who don't know what that is about, let me see if I can find the image real quick.
It's entitled Valen in the images.
Here it is. So this is the note in question, and you hand that to the dwarf?
No, when he shakes Traven's hand, if Traven has the note, Draven will show him the note. He's not going to give up the note.
Oh, okay.
He's going to share it with the dwarf and say, but I have proof that there is a conspiracy, that there is a plan to attack this village, this town, this city.
This is fantastic. I can't see how they can't trust that we're speaking the truth if you have this on your person.
I must find Lord Tarm. I cannot wait 2 days to give him this information. Do you know where I may find this Lord Tarm?
Molinar, I need you to roll me a history check.
Okay. I may not be good at it, but
In
I'll
the
definitely
tower.
give you... Oh, in the tower? Oh, damn. I'll throw the other one in there.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay. Well, good for you. The tower dice roll was much better.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. You don't know where he is today, but you know that for a fact, based on all the hard work, and most of the time they keep sending you to work in the cornfields that are in the northernmost point, which kind of grates on you just a little bit because you're like, look, I got small legs, and you're going to send me the farthest point and then do your work kind of
They're
thing.
so big, man. The potatoes are so big.
And so you heard rumor from all the farmers that you were working with up in the cornfields that Tarm was supposed to be investigating the most northern part of the wall the next morning.
Okay.
So
I'll pensively tap my bushy goatee or close cropped goatee, sorry, and I'll make that known out loud, thinking out loud.
Okay. So the dwarf is
you get
unaware.
to work in the cornfield? You're so lucky.
Man, I can actually climb a corn stalk. I'm so light.
That's fantastic. And so the dwarf goes, I got to tell you, this Tarm fella, I remember trying to locate him on the wall before. He's difficult to find. I'm not going to say out loud that maybe he doesn't actually do the things he claims he does, but and maybe sleeps in quite heavily during the non-listen-in days. But I will tell you, he's ghostly.
So, with that sinking in, Traven's going to turn to Aiden and say, perhaps we should go straight to the abbot.
I can facilitate that.
That is why I'm speaking to you.
Well, I figured. I was just saying.
Today, now.
Oh, right now. Okay.
But
All right.
there's a bath and drinks and food.
I was about to say that while you may make a better impression if you were to wash up a bit.
Impression. This is not about gaining privilege. This is about warning this community, this area, this city, this breadbasket of Faerun, that they are about to be attacked and overrun by giants.
I
Help
understand.
out with that. I can snap my fingers and I prestidigitation clean everybody,
Okay.
and they're done.
Oh, that's handy.
Oh, one must be immaculate when you're in the cornfields all day.
You missed a spot right there. Could you get that for me too? I haven't been able to get that out for weeks. I'm not sure who that is.
Oh no, that's stuck in there. That's definitely stuck in there.
That's Hill Giant.
Well,
That's a spell slot I'm not willing to afford.
Yeah, luckily it's a cantrip, but I'd have to work all day on that stain.
Tell him it's a hill giant, he may eat it.
So it's about this time that Arjak comes back in completely redressed and clean.
he's like the lion. He's got the little bows in his beard. He's got little bows in his dreadlocks.
Can I smell of eucalyptus?
Yes, absolutely. They would definitely have that here. So yes.
Charmingly fresh.
Oh yeah, it's good for the relaxation and opens your sinuses.
Yeah, you smell like a jar of Vicks, right?
Right?
Or a koala. It's the high koala tea stuff.
So Molineer, just to give you an idea of Arjak. Arjak is very different than your previous run-in with a Goliath. He's got a big beard that's actually is braided with little beads of gold and things like that. Kind of like a dwarf, but less gaudy. And he's got a mohawk that's braided back, made out of kind of dreadlocked and braided hair that goes down his back a bit.
So you don't look anything like Nox.
Nox
No,
was very
that's the
clean-shaven.
irony. He looks a lot like Nox.
Okay,
It's just
yeah. So
he's not.
I
kept
waddle
like-
forward. Yeah, I waddle forward and I go, Nox, you made it!
Who?
Oh, did you get a bump on your head? It's me, Molinar.
I don't know you, fella. Sorry, we've never met.
The marionettes, the and the chopping and the pew pew.
You know, that sounds a lot like of my usual repertoire, if you would. But I think you got me confused for someone else.
Oh, okay. There's someone that looks just like you, Nox. I think his name was Nox.
Yeah, there's a few Goliaths named Nox. It's a common name, kind of like John. Name's Arjak Axebreaker.
Molinar Erebor, pleased to meet you.
So
I'm
leaning
sure
over
it
to
is.
Aiden, he'll go, I don't know about you, but it scares me to the tips of my scales knowing that there's something else out there like Arjak.
I was thinking the same thing.
I think there would be many, many out there like Ajax. Arjax.
All right, I need a drink.
I need to go clean something.
And they're
Fine,
all
then. Off to the attic.
related.
Do you guys mind if I trottle along behind you? Anything different than farming would be a blast to me.
You've been extremely handy already. I say you've earned some time with our company. That's just her. Don't worry. She'll warm
Hey.
up to you after she kills you 2 or 3 times.
Oh my.
Yeah.
She brings you back. Most of you.
No, I can't do that.
And what about that charity spirit you got over there, Aiden?
I used to know how to heal people, but I gave that up a long time ago.
Well, you know, Aiden, if you think about it, if this town is going to be attacked by giants, these two are the sole defenders who are defending all of these crops from the giants. I think perhaps Shantae would smile greatly on assisting these two obviously destined heroes.
I've definitely put my time in the fields.
Oh, there you go. And you work the fields. What else could you ask for somebody? That's a noble cause for you.
You got a big mouth.
And
She says
Very.
to guess.
and
I was
and,
gonna say,
and Onyx.
I bow if she points that compliment to me.
No, it's to guess.
Grimly kind of says, I think it might be better if you go without me, considering how often they've kind of dismissed my comments before. Having fresh ears might, me being there might be somewhat of a, oh, I put you up to this, and I don't want that to come across. Molinar was not when I went to speak with was not with me when I went to speak with the abbot. He was doing a lot of building up a lot of brownie points by being in the farm fields. So him attending with you would not be a problem. But I do fear that if I was to take part in the discussions, that it might go sideways where you don't mean it to.
Well, can I ask how you came of the knowledge of the impending attack of the giants on this sacred place?
No, that's fine. I started to notice a trend all over Faerun where large swaths of food were being completely stolen and taken back directly to what I overheard be this place called Grodhug. Grodhug? I'll be honest with you, I barely speak giant, so it's very difficult for me to give a clean, common tongue version of what I'm trying to say here.
I might be able to help out with that.
Yeah, but I don't speak giant, so I couldn't repeat exactly what I heard. It's just the best translation to common that I have.
Groudhug?
Groudhug? Hog? Something like that.
Groudhug?
Yeah. H-A-U... I don't know. I just overheard giants while I was tracking them down. It's very difficult for one person to take down 2 giants, so I do apologize. I don't mean to sound like I was being disrespectful to the fact that they were stealing a bunch of food, but I didn't want to become part of that food.
Would Arjak be able to get a rough translation of what he's trying to say or put it together?
You would get the same thing because he doesn't speak giant, and the best he could do is that. him translating to you would be effectively the same thing. Like, you kind of
Okay.
go, yeah, that sounds like Groudhog
Giant.
or Groudhog or something like that.
Groundhog.
But it sounded like
That's
it was
what
a
I got from
fortress
it.
of some sort. That there must have been actually a bit of a civil war within the hill giants just themselves, and something happened where I haven't seen a single female hill giant, while I've seen tons of male hill giants roaming all over the valley.
Indeed, there are problems amongst the giants, or so we heard.
So I after all that, I heard that they were planning on taking the walled farm, and I made the only assumption that this is it.
Logical assumption, yes.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't have physical evidence, which has caused me quite a bit of consternation, you might think.
But we do.
And I agree. I think, but again, having someone in a completely separate group creates a secondary view of the truth. You might benefit by me not being there.
So,
Well, we cannot force you to go with us, so if you choose not to, that is your choice.
So,
But I would hope that you would remain in the area in case your apparent acumen with dealing with giants would be needed.
I have no intention of leaving. If here's the tricky part. If sir, I do not know if you understand exactly what I am, but I am a druid, and I have one reality here. If this place falls, the amount of wildlife that would be consumed by the immense small folk population of the north would be too devastating to the ecosystem of the forest.
if
Oh.
I got a favor to ask, if you say you're a druid,
I am a druid.
you're okay. So I knew a druid once who he had these berries. They were the best thing ever.
Brambleberries.
Can you make those?
He kind of rolls his eyes. He's like, hold out your hand. He drops 10 of them in your hand.
And Arjack is just elated. He's like, yes. He just starts popping them back.
I'm glad I can entertain. Molinar's been telling me I need to do more of that.
Just to smile every once in a while. You're so serious. Add a smile and people might take you a little differently.
Well, and he kind of points to Traven. He's like, but this fella gets it. You have truth of impending
only a
destruction.
squire. He's just a squire. The big guy said so.
The Red Dragonborn was lying to you. I am not a squire. I am my own man. We are traveling companions.
Oh, so you don't wash his backside or scrub anything for him?
I might if he asked me to, but not as a general rule, no.
Oh my. That's true friendship then. You cannot be a squire.
That's fantastic.
Arjack's taken aback. No one ever washes me.
Not as.
How would you know?
For a couple of silver, I might wash you.
You
Oh,
might
that's-
get lost in there if you're not careful.
All right.
Moving on.
We're moving on. So y'all leave the Golden Leaf. It really is in the dead center of town town area, and like I said, it's actually much larger than just a simple circle like that. So it's going to take you a few steps to kind of make it to this other circle that I've made, where the Harvest Home Abbey is clearly delineated for Goldenfields. As you all approach, though, you kind of make it through kind of an open air merchant, and an odd-looking sight is seen amongst the other merchant tables. Several youngsters of various races stand around a table lined with potions. The youngsters appear to be teenagers, but they are dressed strangely. A tiefling girl who appears to be wearing beige makeup and wears pants that have been cut above the knee, way above the knee. The same oddness in dress can be said for the other youngsters too, each appearing to be wearing a strange and foreign style of clothing. Some of them are wearing this extra piece of fabric that wraps around their neck and then drapes down in front of them.
I saw potions. I'm making a beeline.
Stop him quickly before he purchases something he doesn't understand.
It's okay. I'm short on gold right now. I can't afford much.
You'll have to tell me that story sometime, Traben.
Oh, it is so scary.
What did you say the name of the place was here where we're going to?
It is called the Harvest Home Abbey of Goldenfields.
Okay, Harvest Home. Okay. They're not very creative. Harvest Hall, Harvest House, Harvest Home. Yeah.
Yes.
It's the grain goddess. Come on.
Potions.
Okay, so Arjak, you approach and you see this tiny little banner made of like 2 pieces of parchment that are kind of draped down on the table. There's no kind of any sort of formalized thing. Like the other merchants have these really nice like listings of food prices and all this other kind of stuff.
This is like the lemonade stand of the D&D world, right? I mean, what? This is like the lemonade stand of the D&D world.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like POTUNS 25 gold.
Tiniest samples ever.
So on the pieces of paper in big letters, you see the letters FODR, and one of the few humans that are in the group, again a teenager, kind of looks at you. His face is kind of filled with a little bit of acne that looks drawn on, not that he has acne. Okay. And he's like, hello there, giant sir. We are the first order of the D20 RPGers, and we are 5 members strong. We use the acronym FODDER.
So are you selling potions?
We are. We're trying. Our current RPG of choice is called Humans O Earth, and we're selling potions to earn some coin to purchase the next supplement. Land vehicles and watercraft that move on their own.
All right, then. I don't care about that. What potions do you have?
Oh, this is so exciting! No one's bought anything yet. I've been okay. So here's the thing. There are 10 gold pieces apiece.
Right.
And this potion is invisibility.
Invisibility?
Yes.
Arjak, you might want to check to make sure that they're actual potions.
Arjak,
wait.
I can make you invisible if you really want it. Save your money.
Okay, what else do you got, little person? Not you, little person. The other little person.
We got a potion here called Biggerness.
Oh Lord.
Oh yes. How much is that one?
That it's 10 gold pieces.
Would you do 2 potions for 15?
Yes.
Okay, so I'll want the biggerness one. What else you got?
We have muscles.
Ooh, I got them too. But what's in the potion?
That's what we call it, muscles.
So biggerness and muscles.
Muscles
for 15.
Okay. And we have this potion here that's called Good Ears.
Good ears? No, I don't care about my ears. Keep going.
We have one here that is No Thoughts.
Well, you don't need that one either.
Like knowledge of thoughts.
Oh no.
And then the last one is...
Wait. Does it make you smarter?
We've been hesitant to drink it. There was a guy that came through here who was selling sold potions kind of to us at a slightly discounted rate in order for us to use it as a supplement, and he said that it'd be good business practice for him to get the word out on his wares. The guy's first name was Timmy, but I can't remember the rest of the name of the store.
I know this fella. Okay.
He also said he had... Sorry, go ahead.
Biggerness, muscles. We'll skip the others. What comes after the thought thing? Because I don't care about thoughts. You don't need them.
Okay. And the last one is... Animal Speak.
I'll buy all of them for 25.
That's very reasonable. We can do that.
Okay. So I got biggerness.
Meanwhile, as you're talking with the one human who has pimples drawn on his face, the other ones are still playing their game in the background, and you hear, oh, that's a critical miss with your persuasion check versus your IT boss. Your email is gone.
Molinar wanders over and asks if he can roll the die.
They're like, oh, do you want to create a character?
You are.
No, I just want to roll. I'm really good at rolling dice. Let me roll a die for you.
Okay. Well, okay, go ahead. You can roll this D10 for Jenny. Go ahead.
Do you mind if I use my own dice?
Is it 10-sided?
Yeah. I've got a few different ones.
Then I don't care. That's fine.
Perfect. Nope.
What did you roll?
Oh, sorry, a real die 10?
Yeah.
That's cool. 3.
That's cool! Stock market is up 20 points!
I cheer and
Jenny
then walk
didn't
back to the
invest! Jenny didn't invest!
I'll walk back to the party.
Okay, so Arjack, you got invisibility, biggerness.
No, I didn't.
No, you got biggerness,
Muscles,
animal speak.
animal speak.
What was the fourth one?
I just got 3.
Oh, well, they're like so excited because they only needed to make over 20 gold pieces to get the next installment, so they give you no thoughts.
No thoughts. Okay.
Yep. All right.
I'll eat my hat if any of those work.
All right. So you head back down to the Harvest Home Abbey. Basically, is Aiden walking in front because it's something she knows?
She has no clue how to get there.
No. I'm like you walk far enough, and now you're in the presence of this temple that is clearly dedicated to Shantae. Yeah,
the closer we get, the more she'll probably pull ahead. Because
so
maybe she can hide here. It's not her temple, but you know.
Forever.
Forever, yeah.
They see the holy symbol on your arm, on your chest as you kind of approach, and people don't even hesitate. They kind of get out of your way. They open the door. They're like, whatever business the Dragonborn has here, this is really weird, but yeah, go in.
Her shield has the sheaves of wheat on it too. Okay,
so again, they're like, yeah, we're the squires of the Shantae realm. A knight is approaching. Go through. We're not,
I'm not a knight yet.
Oh, they're not referring to you anyways.
Is there any wheat on the way? Like not harvested wheat, but like maybe a stray stalk here and there?
No.
Okay.
So there is a precision to the way that this place is farmed that no grain anything goes unused.
Okay.
So
because he was totally going to tuck wheat into his armor as he went.
Now you would have found if you want to drop a copper piece, people would have sold you wheat stalks on the way just through the merchants.
Oh, yeah.
So
okay.
So that's fine. You have a piece of wheat now coming out your teeth.
Yeah.
And they actually sell really long ones. So if you want one that's like 3 feet in front of you, that's tall.
You can thwack people with it, like tickle Traben behind the ears as you're walking behind him, stuff like that.
Traben, like his player, is not ticklish.
Uh-huh.
We'll have him roll Constitution checks every once in a while, see if that's true. Okay, so the largest and most elaborate building in Goldenfields is the Abbey. Harvest Home, a centuries-old stone edifice whose outer walls have statues of Shantae at every corner, her hands raised to the sky as though casting a spell to summon rain. Well-tended hedges surround the foundation, and the sun-shaped window of the stained glass is set above the entrance and the steps leading up to it. Narrow windows of stained glass decorated with images of wheat, fruit, and vegetables light the pillared arcades within. Toward the back of the building, mounted between sturdy roof beams, is a large bronze bell that is rung 15 minutes before prayers every morning, noon, and evening. Wandering the abbey halls are two old black bears named Darlow and Tillaby. A few months ago, they startled some workers in the south fields. No one could fathom how the two bears crept in the compounds unseen, spurring rumors that they were gifts from the Earth Mother. Rather than drive them out, the workers sheltered and fed them. The bears eventually followed workers into the abbey. They tried to mooch food from visitors while posing no real danger to anyone. So as you approach, they're like, you have these bears kind of nuzzling up to you like they're massive dogs, right? Just, hey, do you got food for me?
Yay, Mr. Ranger!
Very nice.
I do have a recently acquired potion of animal speak.
You have to tell me when you're using these things, okay?
I will.
The abbot of Goldenfields, Eladrin Dvorak, is a male human priest, is a worshiper of Shantea and member of the Emerald Enclave. Basically, as you walk in, a priest of Shantea immediately kind of moves directly to interact with Aiden, but at a 3-foot distance, and he's effectively narrating all this to you as you're kind of going, as though you're going through kind of a museum of sorts.
So Arjack will lean over to Traben. I got one of them thoughts I need to run past you.
Oh dear.
Very well.
Do you think it's disrespectful that I carry axes inside of a holy place of vegetable growth?
None whatsoever.
Okay.
Don't draw them.
Why would I put pictures on them?
Right. Exactly, because that would be disrespectful.
Right, okay.
Yeah, no swinging. Just no swinging. Of any sort.
No, you swing over in the bar. You don't swing here.
Again, you are absolutely correct.
Right, okay. Let's keep going.
All right. So the one thing that Traven and Gesh, you notice right away, is that there's no guards. There's no guards in this temple. There are a handful of acolytes, though, and
go through those like butter.
And there's one who is particularly interested that you all are approaching, and she pays incredible attention to Molinar as he walks forward.
Hi, I'm Molinar.
Well, she's a good 30 feet away, but so if you're still saying Molinar, that's fine. But she's just
walking. The minute I catch her,
hello.
I'm walking the whole way.
So you're breaking
my
from
hand.
the group that's going straight. She's like over here. You're like, and oh look, someone's looking at me.
It's like, ooh, puppy, and I wander over and I introduce myself.
Uh-oh.
She kind of has her hands down by her side, slowly reaches up to grasp your hand for just a second, but kind of does it in a very curt fashion. You don't get the sense that it's her being rude, more that she has a certain air of militaristic training about her, and that this is not a she has a this is just her way of being. She
and no problem.
She slowly nods her head and she goes, "Hello, my name is Z."
And I wander back.
And she kind of watches him walk away, and her expression went from really staring at him to going, I don't know if you can see that expression. Okay, and then continues on with watching the party proceed. The guy at one point makes a left-hand turn, and so the kind of courtyard area that she's standing in, you just kind of go around her, and she just kind of keeps her eye on you as you are departing. Eventually, the acolyte kind of gives a quick bow, opens up the door, and it leads into the central area where the abbot is sitting down and scribbling out all sorts of decrees. and he kind of looks up and says, "Hello, may I help you?"
You look bored. Can we bother you?
I don't know that bored is the right word, but yes, you can bother me.
Draven kind of nudges Aiden.
Why are you nudging me? I'm just getting you in the door. So, Abbott, these are my traveling companions, and they have some news for you. So, please listen to them.
I don't have a portrait for the abbot, but I do have one for Z, so this is Z that I've sent to everyone. The abbot looks, kind of stands up from his desk, and he moves forward. It's his gait is almost alarming because you don't hear him place a single footstep down as he moves towards you. You're standing on stone, a stone flooring, and every single one of your all steps have made noise as you proceeded. Not like glaring noise, but at least noise that would be appropriate. And when he moves to you, there's almost, because the robes that he's wearing give the illusion that he's actually half an inch off the ground walking towards you.
Ghost! Ghost needs a ghost! Ghost!
That's freaky.
He starts reaching for his axe.
No. Put the axe away, Arjax. We're here to talk.
So he kind of does one of these and goes, "Shantaea's blessing to you all. What news might you have for me? I don't recognize you from the... Well, wait a minute. I do recognize you." And he points to Molinar for a second. Your work in the cornfields was excellent. It's impressive how someone your size can deal with such a much larger quantity of work than someone who is humanoid sized. So please do not sound like I'm being disparaging to you. Just the sheer volume of your work is astounding.
Oh no, pride is one thing I have in anything I do. Thank you.
But so I'm sorry. You all have something to interrupt my boredom with?
Yes. Your holy area, your city, your Goldenfields is about to be attacked by giants.
This comment has been made before, and I apologize, but I don't have any reason to believe that. Can you give me reason?
He'll present the note. We were guided to this by the Loyal Fury. We were sent on a mission. We are here to help protect the Goldenfields from these giants. There is much trouble amongst the giants. Gesh understands it much better than I do.
Shantae understands it too.
It appears through a series of what some would say almost coincidental circumstances. We've stumbled across many unusual things with the giants recently. Guh, as you see the name there, is a name we've seen scribbled across a destroyed building in a small hamlet outside of Daggerford. Where the giants have come through and attacked for food and sustenance. We've also tracked them down to many other villages and areas all through Faerun, and they're definitely, the hill giants at least, are on the move, looking for food specifically and causing terrible dismay and destruction wherever they go. We have heard... Go ahead.
No, sorry, continue.
You okay? I mean, I know it's the vegetables. I know it really... It's okay. We'll try to bring them back.
You have a very sensitive soul amongst you, it appears.
Her? Oh, defender of the fields, man. You don't want to mess with the maiden of sheathing over there. Oh, no.
Okay.
So, we've heard through various resources that things have gone askew in the giant kind. Now, I don't understand everything they're talking about in this, mind you. There's things called the Order in. Thank you. Things have gone afoul amongst giant kind. And now they are all amuck and afoot, causing chaos wherever they go. And we are sure, since they are hunting up food in great quantities for whatever their gluttonous reasons are, they are coming to, of course, the breadbasket of the world would be here.
In fewer words, bunch of giants are upset. They're looking for food, and this is a prime target.
Good takeout.
Yeah.
I'm not. So first off, Traben, did you hand him the note?
Showing it to him.
Okay, so he reaches out to take the note from you.
I'll let go of it.
Okay, he looks at it very closely. Hands it back to you.
We do not know what the and I will tell him that I do not recognize that symbol, and none of my companions, friends, none of us know what that symbol means.
He kind of makes a slight joke because he doesn't know the symbol either, and he goes, you know, you might want to check with those fodder kids. Sometimes they come up with some very interesting looking symbols. I'm not dismissing the fact that there is some concern, and I appreciate it, because nothing would be of a bigger waste, I feel, to Faerun if Goldenfields were ransacked. Unfortunately, I'm not quite sure what you want me to do about it. I'm happy to take some listening, but I've pretty much entrusted the entirety of the care of the watch to Tom.
Lord
Tarm. And just as he says that, the woman who had been staring at you the entire time, who Molinar spoke with, just kind of one punches the door, and it breaks inward into the thing, and she looks. She's like, you can tell there's a sense of exasperation about her now that was like either being muffled or whatever before, and she's just like, you know, Abbott, you can't be serious. You've had so many interactions with so many people who have warned you about this, and I'm telling you, the walls are crumbling all around that of Goldenfields. Tarm is not equipped. He doesn't have the means. There's nothing to do here. We have to start preparing for what is inevitable to be a fight. If anyone ever came through here, they would have understood that Goldenfields is not as defensible as it once was. We don't even have a fourth of the number of guards that we used to, because Tarm keeps pissing people off and they leave.
Arjek just points to the lady and like what she's saying.
And the abbot kind of is like, he goes, "Hello, Z. Thank you for knocking on the door this time. Please go sit over there." And she just like, she is immensely dejected and just immediately sits down on a bench. And he goes, "You know what I've said about being, you know, polite and respectful?" And she's like, "I know. Shantaea's patience is not with me, and I don't understand why." As all that interaction is going on, he then returns to you and goes, "Well, you can see that I can see that your presence has definitely caused some interjections occurring within my acolytes. I would still look back to you and go, what would you propose me do?"
You could hire us.
Well, obviously we need your support to force your lackluster and apparently lazy defender of your city to do the job he's supposed to be doing in the first place. Obviously, being an inferior species, he wishes just to shuttle under the easies of food and plunder, but you need your walls built up for defense, or you will be eaten.
Z kind of speaks up right as you're saying all. She goes, "Not lackluster, incompetent."
Incontinent, as she said.
I don't think she's like. I guess I need to apologize. I don't think he's an evil man. I just think he's a Nimrod.
That's awesome choice of words. Yeah.
We understand that feeling, and he'll like look over at Traven.
Totally oblivious.
He's like, I mean, I greatly appreciate your support. I know that there's an open air hearing in, what is that, tomorrow? Well, you know what? I think it's 2 days from now, but that's something we can interpose immediately. Z, go make Tarm aware the open air session will be tomorrow, and please stop breaking doors in this abbey. Okay, we spend a lot of time repairing what you seem to break. And she does a quick nod, and she moves at a pace that is unlike anyone has ever seen. The thought of her keeping up with giants escaping is very much present in your mind as she leaves his dwelling.
So you will take no action upon this notification this moment?
Well, the first thing we need to do is to look, if you're talking about giants, seriously giants, invading Goldenfields, it's not going to be the 5 of you, and it's not going to be me, and it's not going to be the four acolytes within my temple that I would deem worthy of combat that are going to be sufficient to deal with this threat. This is the unfortunate truth about warfare. There's logistics. You have tactical and you have strategic. And if I take you for your word that you believe there to be a very sizable opponent approaching us, first off, we would see them from the walls at this point. No bells have rung. So that means we have a day. And the bottom line is, everyone comes to these open air hearings so that we can actually, get more than 2 or 3 people to start dealing with things.
So he's not being resistant. He's just saying we have to wait until tomorrow.
And he's not telling you that you can't go do whatever you want. He's saying that he is acting like a general as opposed to a lieutenant. And if you think of the U.S. military right now, okay, you all are thinking in his mind way too tactical right now. That you're like, oh, there's this urgency, and he goes, well, if there's that large of a force encroaching on us right this very second that we have to worry about it tonight, we would be able to see them from where we're at, and we don't. So I have to worry about that if I'm going to start up a war, and we're going to have hundreds or thousands of people supporting the war effort, all the farmers are more than happy to deal with any sort of presence that actually breaches the wall. But it's clear to me that what we have to do is make sure that the wall isn't breached. The real problem is that we don't have such a large fighting force that we have to come up with strategies and whatnot that would be able to deal with what ends up being such a large stretch of walled mile that I have to think about this, like, where do I put supplies? Where do I put barrels of arrows if we want to defend the wall? Where do I put...
but he is taking us seriously.
He's like, I'd much rather you plead your case to the community at large because us dealing with it tactically isn't going to be sufficient anyways. Does that make sense?
Yes, indeed. Another useless bureaucratic defender of a city. We understand.
I'll make an insight check too, just in case if it meshes with what. Yeah.
How do you?
Can you not send word down the North Furrow to Waterdeep to have them send perhaps part of their guard, their city guard or their city watch, one of the two, to aid this town? You feed that city for the God's sakes.
And he looks straight at you and goes, I have sent a raven every week for the last year to Waterdeep to provide us more guard. It's this new development isn't new. And they have never responded. Now, I will add in my next Ravenry submission, which will be tonight, that we fear that there is an approaching hill giant force. But what else can I do right now? Tell me.
Could you add our names to that we're here? Because we were in Waterdeep. No, were we? We were. No, we weren't. Never
Definitely
mind.
add my name to it, because I was at the Black Sheep Tavern and I killed it there.
You killed what?
I killed it. I performed for like a week there. They loved me. My name is everywhere in Waterdeep now.
So maybe we should say that you're performing here and see if people just come?
So
yeah.
Turning to Traven, are you happy now? We found yet another useless bureaucrat.
And the abbot kind of gets kind of perturbed when you say that, because he goes, you know what's useless? Having 5 people come to me and tell me that there might be, 20 hill giants attacking? What the hell are y'all going to do about 20 hill giants?
May your pen pushing and prayers provide much more defense than action. Yes, yes, fine.
Yes, shut up.
Shut
Shut
useless
up.
as useless is. Let's go. All he's going to do is give us more excuses for why not to be active on his part. He's useless.
Okay. By the way, Molinar, your insight check of 20. This guy, he understands that long-term survivability in a city of this size, he has always relied upon the wall. Okay.
Right.
He does recognize that they're underforced, but he has work that he has to take care of in order to make sure that food goes out to the right towns at the right time.
Oh yeah.
And it's a mountain of paperwork. In fact, you without seeing like some of the paperwork that's fallen off the desk is just food requests to all these other places, and that his first and foremost piece of work is to make sure that the citizenry of all of Faerun are not starving.
Yeah, and that's fair. And I guess Molinar kind of makes a comment about Z's opinion and says, it's always something where bad bosses force the workforce to leave. And if this Tarm isn't doing his job the way he should be, perhaps you might want to replace him with someone that may take action, as Gesh suggests.
You have to put out some paperwork on that. That will take at least 4 or 5 days.
Just shut up.
Oh, please.
He goes, that's not a bad idea. Like I said, the problem has been that I honestly need more assistants who are willing to actually take on the responsibility of the food in order to address more issues than just the food.
Oh, of course.
There's a druid in the tavern by the name of Onyxbane. He would be really put to use to help that way.
I'll look him up. Thank you for the employment suggestion.
No problem.
Reference.
So I'm actually I say we take a small break. Everyone at Twitch, sorry about this. I need about a 10-minute break, so let's try to reconvene at 7. Does that work for everyone?
Works for me.
Okay. Sorry for the slightly extended break. All you people out on Twitch, we will be back. And again. See, this is the interesting part. When there's only part of the party here, you all get to decide what happens to the group.
Oh, I'm here.
Oh, there she is.
Don't be deciding for me.
Me too.
Okay, so we're back on. So everyone turn the cameras on. So the abbot, is kind of on the whole trying to figure out the logistics of trying to make sure that if we're going to go to if there really is a war impending or if there's a major battle impending, how can he assure that it doesn't impact the food runs that go out? How can he make sure that the thing that every place is stocked? He also makes it a point to say that every single effort that is currently being made to rebuild and reinforce the wall are things that he himself has put into order, because there was some concern. But again, he's done everything he can. He sends another one of his acolytes out immediately to go locate this dwarf that Molinar speaks of.
Onyxbane.
Yes, Grimly. Okay. And he's not offended by Gesh's brashness. If anything, he kind of is. He kind of speaks of the fact that he admires people with that sort of passion within his presence, but that he understands that you can kind of tell that back in his day he must have been not an Emerald Enclave member, but rather someone of militaristic prowess, but not from a tactical perspective. Like, he was much more an advisor to a war about like making sure that munitions and food sources were, like he must have been a high-ranking quartermaster officer within, trying to worry about the logistics and not the individual fighting scenarios.
And sorry, one question for him before we, or as we leave. I kind of plant the seed of thought where, what would happen if the deliveries of the grain did stop for one shipment? Would that get their attention?
I fight with this thought process in my mind as being not only the head abbot of Goldenfields, I'm also a member of the Emerald Enclave, and the big fear is the amount of hunting that would occur should we drop food sources, right? And so you have that question mark on, we're the sailors really appreciate us because no one wants to catch scurvy, and it's rare to find oranges and citrus and that kind of thing. But local town folk who have become accustomed to very, very base amounts of food over top of rice might not rile them the right way.
And fair enough, but maybe keep it in mind just in case there's no other choice. That would definitely make people take note of what's going on out here.
Well, and he kind of looks at you and goes, and if we lose all our fields to giant invasion, that might be the only option we have. So he encourages everyone to explore the whole of Goldenfields, or as much as they can. The thought process being that if you all are considering providing defensive support, by which he would be greatly appreciative of, and he can't put you on retainer, but clearly if you all were of great assistance during any sort of attack, he would do his best to ensure compensation of some sort. But he also says, in my experience, it's very hard to defend a land that you're not familiar with. So you might want to explore the wall. You might want to see where you all have identified shortcomings, and that we might be able to prepare for when we have the open air discussion tomorrow morning.
Can we borrow Z for that? She could tour us and let us know her thoughts too.
So as soon as she comes back from the gate, she will be available to you, but I would say don't worry about finding her. She'll find you during that. Like, I would encourage you to continue right now, and then later on. One of the places you might want to take a moment to go to is the North Furrow's End. It's the other primary inn in the area, and the Golden Leaf is used almost exclusively as like a holding pattern for people who haven't been announced to Goldenfields. The North Furrow's End is much more of the trade fair people that come to the city, purchase goods that then they don't end up having to ship out themselves. They can kind of just have merchants take the goods and stuff back, but often it creates a mixed bag of people who might be willing to stand ground. So it's the best he can do for you today, as well as exploring as much of the city as possible.
Now, being a simple man myself, and
clearly,
is there anyone about the field that might need simple solutions met with simple answers?
He's really confused. He's like, I'm sure that means something, but I apologize, sir. Your intellectual prowess exceeds that of. I don't understand what you're asking. There's too much ambiguity.
Okay.
That's what I told Knox. Exactly that. Intelligence, so smart.
Let me rephrase this.
Okay.
I have very large muscles.
Okay.
Is there anyone amongst the fields, maybe an owner or something like that, who could use those muscles at this time? Maybe they are down on their luck, or they have perhaps run out of muscles themselves.
That's a really good question. I'm just trying to figure out. I mean, granted, every single one of the fields could use
Right.
harvesting.
Right.
We do have a livestock field as well.
Mm-hmm.
Shalvis might...
Shalvis.
Martholio. I really wish I just renamed all the characters into something way easier to pronounce.
And type. And
sorry, DM moment, metagame. Okay.
Where would this Shalvis be located? Because you have ample fields, and to say to just go to the field is not a little bit more direction, perhaps, of where this person works.
I've heard of this guy while I was on my rounds. I'll show you where he lives.
I greatly appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay.
On the way out, Jess would like to have a word with his newfound and useful companion, Melivar.
Hi, I'm Molinar.
Wait. He gets useful and newfound and useful, and I get dissed all the time? Thanks, dude. Thanks.
That's love. That's love.
Do you have a complication with that?
None whatsoever.
Perhaps you should pray to Torm about it for an answer.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's gonna take a couple
man.
days. It's gonna take a few days.
Molinar, you've been in this town for a while now, trying to, with your very vocal dwarven companion, stir up some type of support. Is there any people you know that would have an ear for us to try to gain momentum to grab, well, let's say, some rabble-rousing during the open meeting coming? If we can get a force out there of a unified voice, perhaps forceful, we can get more going forward.
Roll
Go ahead.
Roll a persuasion check, and if it's high enough, then what I'll do is I'll let you know that you ran into someone that's like that.
Okay.
Yeah. So, yes, there's one person that kind of sticks in your mind. His name is Miros Zelbrin, and he is the proprietor of North Furrow's End.
In fact, the place
together in a tight package.
the place we're just about to go. Yeah, Miros.
Yeah. So I've changed the iconography on your map. So where there's a small circle now, that's the livestock area. The square actually is North Furrow's End.
So I'll take them to the livestock area if that's where Chauvis is, just for Arjack, and then I tell everybody the end is just a little bit around that way.
Okay. So I need to know if he's taking you there. Then the question is: are you splitting up the party? Are you keeping everyone together?
Well,
okay.
I'm thinking we shouldn't leave the path, so we should all go together on the path.
Okay.
Stick to
That
the
was
path.
rule 1, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Which we have violated more than once.
And it never goes well.
That's it. Yeah, keep everybody together. I mean, if it's just a quick talk for Arjack to this guy.
So, the field is roughly half a mile in diameter, enclosed by wooden fences with rearing horses carved into their posts. During the day, shepherds as well as workers with milk buckets and wool shears can be seen moving around the herds of cows and sheep. There's a ton of them out there. You kind of ask for Shalvis, which they kind of have a raised eyebrow when they ask, but they're like, well, whatever, and they point to this one kind of younger herder amongst the group who is not wearing the same sorts of clothing that they like. Everything that you kind of get the sense in Goldenfields that they all kind of dress like Z, and by Z I mean sort of in Jedi garb, for lack of a better, right? But here's this one rancher who is wearing much more of a fantasy-styled cowboy get-up, where like clothes are much more form-fitting. You could tell that potentially in his past he might have been in charge of breaking horses for so that they can be ridden long distances and whatnot, right? Getting used to saddles and stuff like that. Not to harm creatures, but rather like that's the way his outfit looks like it's geared for that kind of work. Even the insides of his pants legs have just an extra piece of leather padding in such a way that at some point he probably, like I said, was used to train horses. He introduces himself as Shalvis Martholio, and he kind of mentions, he's like, I think it's funny that the abbot sent you to me. I'm kind of the newest one here. Granted, I've been here for about a year, but I'm the least long-term historical knowledgeable about this area.
Well, I think you're a little bit wrong there, because I think we're the newest ones here.
Fair enough. I mean, on the inside of this fence that you're standing on the outside of.
Fair enough. So, but he said you might need some muscles around here to help out. What's going on?
I mean, we feeding the livestock and shearing sheep and milking the cows and whatnot. This is rather hard work. I don't know if that's what he sent you here for, but if the other thing that we could definitely use is that we have a large stock of fence posts over there, and the north area of the fencing has been was taken down a little bit when one of the bulls kind of charged through and trampled through a little bit of the wheat fields, which is like behind the area. This area of the livestock fields is just an immense wheat field. There's no confusion as to where it would have gone. As you can see, there's like one trail of just destroyed wheat that if you put your mind to it, he's like, yeah, that's about bull size, trampling in one direction.
So Arjack will kind of turn back to the group and go, do you think we should help them, or should we head over to the North Furrows?
What's this we, Himothabi?
Well, we, as a herd, collectively should decide this.
I think we have a mission. Putting in fence posts is probably not going to facilitate that.
That's what I'm kind of thinking too.
I've never been a part of a herd. That's cool.
Nice.
Traven?
Yes?
Your 2 cents?
He's trying to figure out if you think they should stay to help with this or continue on to North Furrow's End.
He's busy praying.
I believe we are here, as Aiden said, on a mission, which at the moment rebuilding a retaining fence has nothing to do with.
Okay.
Right then, decide. He turns back to the Salvers. Well, when we're done with what we're doing, we might swing back by to help you with that. But if you need something to take the bull by the horns, let us know. Have a good day.
Okay, he nods, and as he nods and turns away, I need Traven to make a perception check in the tower.
Oh yeah, pick me, thanks.
Better than me.
It's only because of your travels that you would have even known about this. Okay, so he does something, and you can tell he almost did a hand signal of sorts, and then realizing that it's inappropriate for whatever is going on right now, just kind of more fastly turns and walks in that direction. It's nothing you saw during dealing with Giles, but there's something that's kind of you're running through your head thinking, I've seen this hand signal somewhere before. I just don't know what it is. You don't have this is something bad, oh, this is something good, but it's like, oh, this is who this person belongs to from a group perspective. You can tell he's not an Emerald Enclave member. Let me put it that way. Okay.
Does he appear to be non-Shantae-ish?
No, yeah, he's not dressed like it. He doesn't talk like it. He doesn't walk that walk. He's diligently dealing with the cattle in the area, but he is not. There's nothing that is that kind of coincides with that world, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
He's a tradesman of some sort, right?
Roger.
So you all make your way over to North Furrow's End, and I'm going to go ahead and use Molinar since he's the one who's guiding you on this map. So again, you got all started here at the Golden Leaf, came down here to talk to the abbot at the Abbey, went over here to deal with the livestock fields, and now you're headed over here for the North Furrow's End. Standing north of town is a 3-story stone edifice with arched windows that offer a view of the surrounding gardens. Thin plumes of smoke issue from many chimneys on rainy days and cold nights. And right now it's kind of a more chilly, myrtle afternoon. And so you see little smoke plumes rising. Above, life-size statues of rearing horses flank double doors that lead to the common room. Above these doors hangs a wooden sign that proclaims the name of its grand establishment, North Furrow's End, in fancy lettering. West of the main building is a stable house that can hold and feed up to 50 horses. You kind of walk through the front doors and into the common room. An elderly man kind of walks for you, albeit he's rather a mighty, impressively sized individual, even for your motley group. He's not a Goliath, but he's easily as tall as a Goliath. He's a human. And probably in his mid to late 60s. And he kind of extends a hand and goes, "Hello, my name is Miros Zelbrin. How may I be of assistance? Are you looking for a room?" I like to talk to people when they arrive because it puts them at ease, or it puts me at ease for new people arriving. One of the two.
Hi, I'm Molinar.
Ah, very nice
So
to
he's
meet
as
you, little
tall
man.
as Arjax, huh?
Say that again?
He's as tall as Arjax,
Nearly. I mean, you're talking inches difference.
but he's a human.
But he's a human. Molinar, I need you to roll a history check.
History, okay. I will make sure to take that as a proficiency next couple levels.
Okay.
Skills, history, here we go.
And it,
Oh, jack of all trades knows nothing.
It's a shame.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're the owner of this establishment then?
I am. Are any of you a member of the Emerald Enclave?
how much does that cost? I might be looking to sign up.
It doesn't quite exactly work that way.
Oh,
It's far more about, wanting to make sure that the forest is free and alive and, not wholesale slaughtering of non-monstrous creatures, non-monstrosities.
She is a priestess of Shantea. That's kind of close, right?
That's pretty close. I will give you that. Good tidings via Shantea to you. And he bends a little bit, and as he does so, he accidentally tips his hat. He was wearing this little cap on, and it tips off, and this white hair just like launches in almost all directions. He's like, "Excuse me," and and all of a sudden you can kind of tell the hat is really pressing down on this white poofy hair that kind of goes off in different directions.
That's impressive.
Wow. So we have come to talk to you about perhaps a delicate matter.
Well, a delicate matter. Why don't we share a drink? Would that not sound delightful?
Oh,
Are you-
that's perfect.
All right.
buying?
So
Great drinks.
he walks over to the bar. He's like, "First one is always on the house," and he starts tapping these beer kegs and kind of sliding it to everyone who wants one. And even if you don't want one, he still puts one in front of you, going, if you wish to give up your glass to whatever ritual you wish to, that is fine as well.
They come in pints.
So yeah, exactly. He kind of looks at you and goes, "Normally I give this size glass. Are you?" Yes. as Molinar kind of wraps both hands around the goblet in front of him. So what is this sensitive matter that you are referring to?
Draven, would you like to talk to him about it, or shall I?
Excuse me. Push to talk is not what works here. Draven kind of, shrugs, shakes his head dejectedly, takes the note out of his pouch and just sets it on the table and slides it over to the guy. Your community is about to be attacked by giants. Your abbot seems to not care. We cannot find your general in charge of your defenses. Goldenfields is doomed.
He kind of looks at the note. Then he looks up and goes, I've often found that even in the darkest of times that it's often the case that those that work together can often overcome amazing odds. And all of a sudden, he kind of there's like this whole shelving of alcohol, right? He puts his hand in between two boards, and it pushes out. And all of a sudden, it kind of slides and has a hidden compartment, and there's this massive battle axe that's sitting behind it. Arjack, I need you to roll a history check, because now you might know who this is.
My history sucks.
And this is the joy of of the DM making everyone roll for things in the past that haven't occurred in the game.
This is pretty.
And you rolled a 1.
And so it goes down to a 0.
Yeah. So you are so just inspired and awestruck by the axe itself that any historical significance of it just out the door. He grabs this axe in such a way that you can tell it was never meant to be held one-handed, and he's holding it one-handed, and he's just like, wow. So what I guess I need to ask, and he kind of puts it down on the table very gently, is are you asking me to help you out, or are you asking me to just go by myself and have myself killed?
Oh, we're looking for help, that's for sure. Dear sir, that's an impressive axe. Oh my lord!
Can I hold it, please, sir?
If fighting commences and it concludes and I'm not standing, I gift it to you, my friend.
Wow.
That doesn't mean I want you to kill me.
Right. I would.
It's good you told him that ahead of time.
Yep.
He opens up a section on the other side of it and kind of slides that alcohol to the side, and there's a really impressive shield that's behind it, but in between the two areas that were hidden is a poster, and you for a second you glance up and you recognize the fact that he at one point was a carnival actor, an attraction within the town of Waterdeep, dubbed the Yeti during his heyday because of his barrel-shaped body and thick white hair covering his arms, chest, back, and immense head plume on his head.
Oh my god, Doug the Yeti, oh my god.
So he slowly closes the things back together, kind of noticing that he kind of exposed his poster and just, kind of closes it back up, turns back around. He's like, where are you staying?
We have not made arrangements for that yet.
You must stay here. You must. If we're to come up with a sound strategy of how we're going to attempt to defend this city, you must stay here. I insist.
I mean,
done.
At least he's axing politely.
Oh, and the puns continue. Molinar shakes his head. That surprises me. I expected him to be like, yes.
No, that one was actually a bad one.
So,
go ahead.
Part of what my despondent companion in arms did not bring up was that part of what we need to do, or we felt we need to do, is perhaps find some way to sway your, lack of a better term, lackluster leader of defense into motion. And we're thinking that in 2 days' time, since public appeal is going to be had, if we could pressure him with perhaps some strong public opinion about needing to build defenses, we could make him get off of his lazy duff, put his apples aside, and perhaps do his job.
Well, I don't know which one you're speaking of. You could be speaking of the abbot, or you could be speaking of Tarm. Before you answer, I would highly suggest that if it's the abbot that you're speaking of, drop it from your vocabulary, because it won't serve you any good. The people of here love him. If it's Tarm, while I wouldn't shout it to the rooftops, I think we might have more people on your side than you realize. It's at this point that he kind of does this, and actually, I don't know if this is. I don't know whether or not this is a man or a woman. It's a slightly, again, he isn't a spring chicken. The person he motions over to come towards the conversation isn't a spring chicken either. A black woman with spectacles on comes over dressed in robes that clearly kind of indicate a spellcaster is amongst your midst. Her name is Nexine Drathkala. Do I need to spell that out?
Don't, please. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. I'm just going to say that she goes by the nickname Ma'am. Okay? And Nexine, Naxene, is a member of the Lord's Alliance, and she is a member of the Watchful Order. So evidently there's an arrangement that's set up with Waterdeep and Goldenfields that there's a yearly attaché that leaves Waterdeep and works in Goldenfields as a spellcaster, solely for the notion of defense within the city of Goldenfields. So, but again, she also says that she's also a member. She's an agent of the Lord's Alliance and shows the emblem as she approaches. She's like, I can't help but overhearing you, not because I wanted to, but because you guys are really loud. And she walks very purposefully, but she's not a. You can tell that she walks purposefully because she does not wish to double back at any point in time in her life. Let's see if
I like you.
So this is Nexine.
Oh, her name is spelled right there.
And I'm sorry, I did not realize they did not do. I just saw the portrait of Miros, and they did not do justice in the way they described him in the book. So I apologize about this. I'm about to show you the photo of Miros. Wow, that doesn't even come close to how I pictured him.
Oh, wow.
No wonder they called him a Yeti.
That's truly Yeti-like, yeah.
Oh, my dear Lord.
Yeah, there's some important points that are missing out in that description, like fur in the face. Oh, my God.
Yeah, well, I just didn't get the sense of that from the description, so that's why I didn't describe it quite like this. I like the notion of him having more of a clean face. I think he would shave every day because he's a proprietor now, right? He's no longer the carnival attraction. So I picture him with a clean-shaven face, but that hair that just goes everywhere.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I think yours makes much more sense.
So, Molinar, one of the other things that you know about this particular inn is that the North Furrows Inn gets just a ton of actors, musicians, acrobats, and other performers from Waterdeep and Daggerford, which unfortunately has meant that you haven't been able to enter the rotation just yet.
Not nice.
Yeah. The current entertainment this afternoon is a halfling singer and lute player by the name of Oren Yogelvi.
Okay.
And he is notable in your mind because he's not a tourist. He lives in Goldenfields.
Ah, okay. I may hook up with him just for some stories about what's been going on.
Okay,
Like,
he won't be
later on.
there until that night.
Yeah,
But I just wanted to kind of provide the image to everyone real quick.
that's cool.
So, thus far, you've met Z, Oren, Miros, and Maxine. You can tell... I need everyone to give me an insight check real quick and do it in the tower.
I will attempt to drag. I gotta stop hiding my tower with the pictures.
Right.
You can unlock it and move it too.
Oh, very good. I will
Right
do
click
so.
on it, yeah.
That's it.
So... So... Aiden, Traben... I don't have a insight check from Molinar yet. But thus far,
I'm dragging and letting it go, but I don't see it doing it.
it'll stay hidden behind things, so you might have to move stuff out of your... Like, minimize everything, move it over, then
Yeah, it's all by itself, this tower, but now for some reason it's not working. Let me keep trying here.
Is it locked? They probably
No.
yeah, lock it.
Here we go. There we go.
Okay.
Sorry about the wait.
Okay, no problem. So it's only Traben and Aiden get this kind of like in the thing that's itching the back of your brain. You're like, the abbot knew where to send you to try to overpower whatever kind of pushback you might get from Tarn. Like, he sent you to the right... Like, you can kind of tell he wanted to stay impartial, but that he sent you to the direction you needed to go.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Quietly versus what Xi Liang was doing.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's not what Traven thinks. Traven would think that the guy's a coward.
Well, no. This is the reason I had you roll the insight check. You are questioning that. Even if you don't want to believe it straight out, that's fine. But you are questioning that thought in your mind at this point.
Okay.
All right. So there is quite an area to preview of all of Goldenfields, and I'm not going to try to keep you at this particular inn, but I needed to understand what might you all want to be checking in on.
Time of day is it?
It's still before noon.
Oh. My vote is, do you see kind of dead center? There's a little like cluster of houses. Or I guess I could do this.
Did you mark something? I didn't see it.
Well, the arrow's backwards, but like right there.
I don't see... Oh. Yeah, right there. Okay. Those are just, again, usually the heads of the farms in the northern quadrant have, and Molinar would know to be able to tell you this, have effectively kind of a leadership to them, right? Those people stay there, and they... and even Molinar would be able to tell you about this a little bit before even going, that one of the big things that they do is they kind of decipher, they take soil samples. There's a lot of science and earth care that kind of goes on there for them to kind of prepare, do they leave one area fallow so that it kind of regains its nutrients? Do they bring in clerics from Shantea to try to create better soil conditions for the harvest? How and what do they plant in different areas? It's not actually always the same location, as different nutrients get pulled out of the earth based on what they harvest. Mm-hmm. So there's a reason why Goldenfields has been in operation for hundreds of years. And,
So
it would be entirely just the leadership within there, and they take on apprentices to kind of learn the skill and trade, and there's this constant. What are y'all laughing about? I don't get it.
Bruce is being bad.
Okay, so they whatever that means. So they take on apprentices that then they teach this like skill set, so that they can again always have people ready to go. The other thing that they do in that area is that there is a kind of marching order for police and fire department, effectively, for the city. So the police are different than the city guard.
Right.
The police deal with very, very, in the grand scheme of things, really, really minor stuff that occurs within the city limits, right? And that is intentional in order to not have the citizenry ever have conflict with the city guard that try to defend the city from outside invaders. Does that make any sense?
Yep.
Yeah.
What Gesh would like to do is try to find out what the condition of the wall is, what's the worst part of the wall, the weakest link, and try to see if we can actually get over there and take a look at it and figure out what's going on there.
Sure.
Arjack would like to pipe up. I got a thought on that, because if we all walk this whole wall by ourselves, we're going to be walking for a while. Why don't we go to the closest point, divide the party in half? One of us goes one way the clock goes, and the rest of us go the opposite of the way the clock goes, and then we meet on the other side.
Well, I thought we would save some time and just find out public opinion about what's the worst part and just go there.
But we're going to be asking farmers about military buildings.
Well, they would still know which part of the wall had the worst damage or wear and tear
Hold
to
it
it, I would think.
outside, that type of thing. Yeah.
Okay.
Just a
I agree
thought.
with you too, but it would take us probably more days than we have. This is a big place, and there's also probably places we can't get into without people getting angry.
It's only about I'm guessing. Let's see here.
Roughly 20 square miles.
But put that in half if we're splitting it between the two of us. Or two groups.
The only problem is that
2 days.
by it being 20 square miles as the area, your distance that you're walking around it is actually greater.
I'll tell you, I like your idea.
Yeah.
But I think let's see if we can find the weakest spot first. So just get a look at what we're talking about, the worst case scenario. Let me put it this way. If even a farmer says, yeah, that's really terrible, from even their perspective.
I'm sorry, Arjack, there's one other thing that Molinar would have told you about that particular area. The Golden Gup Brewery is also there.
Arjack, the adventure now.
Did I not mention that before? I'm sorry.
Molinar, Arjack, you have to pretend you don't know that, and Molinar, you get to tell him when you want to tell him.
Okay.
Okay, so where are you going? So you're going to go there in that area though, in order to determine who are you asking? Are you going to ask the Yeti?
Well, that's where we're going to start, right? We're going to start because we have no in-town informant, so the Yeti. I prefer to call him by his name. What was his name again?
Yeah, it's Miros.
Miros. Miros the furry. Would like to use him and the woman who joined us too.
Maxine,
thank you. Probably Maxine probably even know more. So since she's part of the more military thing, who should we talk to about finding out the true state of the wall and what the worst place in the wall is, just so we can see what our worst case defense scenario is.
And Maxine kind of speaks up and she goes, "Well, this is that tricky part of being polite to those people who might not be what's the word I'm looking for? Z used it a lot. Competent. That's what I'm trying to say here. Tarm, as incompetent as he is, from a people person perspective, he is very knowledgeable on military tactics and also an accomplished engineer. That's one of the reasons why they have such a hard time replacing him, is honestly his engineering prowess. there's actually been rumor that Tarm has actually figured out ways to allow for if we were to be invaded, to have tunnel systems that go underneath Goldenfields and pop out behind the invaders.
So he is valuable in a way.
He is. It's just he has such a gruff personality that it's really hard to get him to, he's a much more accomplished engineer than he is a military strategist. Let me put it that way. And then he's a much more accomplished military strategist than he is a person who knows how to eat food. And he's a much better person who knows how to eat food than a person who knows how to walk and talk at the same time. And he's a much more accomplished walk and talker than he is a person that you'd actually want to talk to.
Does he have anything he's known for that he likes? Like a food or a song or an animal?
He gets really impressed when people can provide him any sort of thing that might be an engineering thing. So like
a pointy gear that we may have come across. But that's the other thing. So you're saying then that the walls are stable and sound?
No. I'm saying that we would need about another 200 engineers to fully upkeep the walls to their original state. He does an immense job with only having 20 engineers at his disposal. And unfortunately, he divides his time between the city watch and the city engineers. There's about 150 watch people and 20 engineers. When he started his position, there were 300 night watchmen and only 15 engineers. So he knows how his vernacular, his way to speak is in line with engineers, but very counterposed to any other person. So if you were to ask me though, what is the worst part of the wall, I can tell you that.
Yep.
Because I don't think there's much confusion as to what that would be. And we're gonna mark it on the map. Oh no, everything that I had turned dark. I was hoping I could use multiple colors.
Negative, Ghost Rider.
Yeah, that's a bummer. So we're gonna use red for the time being. And she says it's the south part of the wall is the worst part. Now, that being said, the reason that's the worst part is that there are actual gaping holes in the wall. And when I say gaping, I'm saying maybe 2 to 3 feet wide, 2 to 3 feet tall, but they're not close to the ground. But if we're dealing with giants, I don't think it'd be difficult for a giant to put their hands through, grab part of the wall, and rip it down.
There you go, Arjack. That could use your muscles.
I could. Well, let's. How about we take a mosey on down that way?
She goes and go. If I said what the second worst piece of the wall is, it'd be the north point where I believe he's supposed to be taking or making his presence known at tomorrow. But with the change of date, if that's what you're telling us, that they're gonna change the date of the hearing or the open air consortium. He was supposed to be heading up to the North Point. The North Point has problems where the earth underneath the wall has eroded so badly that there's some concern that if they were to damage that more, it would fall off.
Arjax, you are somewhat related to giants, are you not?
In a sense, we're kin to them. Kind of like half giants, if you would.
Yes, you would estimate Arjax's mental capacity to be somewhere near the level of these hill giants, right?
I would like to think I'm slightly above that.
Grass is out of this conversation for a while.
Arjax, if you were to attack this village,
exactly,
this city, where would you attack?
Well, now you're discounting my previous experiences, but
I don't know what your previous experiences are.
Exactly. So if I were to attack the city, stay away from gates because they're always reinforced. Go for somewhere that ain't always, oh, what's the way to put it? Easily defendable. So, for example, if the southern part has the holes in it like she was mentioning, well, you don't go run it up to it. You do something from, I don't know, how would I put it? Take a battering ram to it or something like that, the good old thieves' tools, and knock down the wall. So
Or
I'd
as
go
we
throwing
see, hill
boulders.
giants chucking big rocks. Exactly, chucking. We know how well they do that personally.
Right. So I mean, it's kind of like the old saying of if it ain't broke, don't fix it. It's just the opposite of that. If it's already broke, break it a little more. So I would do that. Now, if the north it has that sinking ground underneath it, they ain't gonna know that. Like you said, they ain't the most intelligent folk if it's hill giants coming in.
And that is a tower on that corner, is it not?
There is a tower on that corner.
Now, we're all estimating with this that the hill giants have done some sort of reconnaissance on the town. All we know is they're going to be coming from the hills, and they're going to go for the first wall they see.
Well, if the note is any indication, they needed Giles to give them some, what was it worded, strategically, to be more strategically capable than this Gu's lieutenants.
Right.
So whoever this Gu is, and I'm guessing that's the leader of this group of hill giants, they were counting on a human. Giles was a human, right?
Yeah.
To come in at the...
You killed him, but yes, he was a human.
To come in at the behest of this Valen and provide strategical leadership.
How would they know any of this stuff, though? How would they even know what's going on in Goldenfields?
Well, they might have someone on the inside.
What?
Well, who is Valen? That bothers me.
So, what we might want to start with then is go back to the abbot, figure out who's new in town, or who's not pulling their weight like they should be, and start with those folks. Because
wouldn't that be here? Because this is the inn where all the weirdos come, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, these are the people who live in Goldenfields. So again, the place that you were going to stay at is typically only used as a housing area for those people that newly arrived that were not announced and given chance to clear them before they're released into Goldenfields proper. The majority of people who stay here after leaving the Golden Leaf is at this particular place.
Either the Golden Leaf or here would be probably the hub of where such information may come from.
So
I want to give you all some other points of information that you would know. Everything that you've encountered thus far has been either west or south of this city. Grimly would have told Molinar that everything that he found as of concern, where he spent most of his time finding issues, were west of Goldenfields.
Okay.
Or sorry, not west, east of Goldenfields. And everything you all have dealt with is either east, so to the right-hand side of the map, or below the map. Okay?
Right.
Every place that Grimly has gone to seek assistance has been to the east of Goldenfields.
Okay, so I'll mention that to the group then, at least my part.
That's interesting. So we have a pretty good feeling they're coming from south-southeast.
Right.
Or east, that arc.
That area, yeah. Yeah, so maybe the south is the best place to help rebuild the... Well, I think we should still talk to Tarm and then go on the walkabout, but I think we could at least concentrate on the southeast section there.
I agree completely. I think at least now we know where our weakest point is, what to encounter Tarm with, and roughly where the attack's coming from, we assume.
Okay, so right now we are only 8 or 7 minutes away from 8 o'clock, and I think it's going to take a little bit in order to do the outdoor council. Can we talk a little bit about what y'all are planning to do, and maybe some of it can happen off screen? I'll just kind of re-inform you at the beginning of next game. If it's not like going to require your attention, I'd much rather be like, hey, we're going to walk this wall. Then I'll just kind of go, well, I'll make the assumption that they're not going to allow you up on the wall right now, so you wouldn't be able to interact necessarily with the city watch, albeit you would have a chance to inspect the wall as best you can on this side of Goldenfields.
Well, Traven would want to check the area outside the wall in that area down there for signs of reconnaissance.
Okay, so that's a lot of ground to cover. So what I'd like you to do is put a square around somewhere that you would consider that you're going to be reconnaissancing. Or applying reconnaissance to.
Well, he would want to check, this was the stretch of wall that they were told, so he would want to check outside that to see if it looked like, and maybe he's not the person to do it, but that would be his suggestion, to see if there has been any, probably Arjax would be the best one to look for this, but to see if it looks like anybody has been surveilling the Goldenfields from this area.
So what you're trying to do is find, like, in modern day mystery noir films, you're looking for cigarette buds.
Tracks. Maybe an old OP, or something like that.
Gotcha. So, Arjack, will you be traveling with Traven on this?
I would.
Okay, so what is everyone else doing? I think you're going to have to split up in order to do any sizable knowledge transfer.
Well, Gesh would have turned to Molinar and saying, well, I think part of what we should do is see how much public opinion, with the guidance of our newfound friends here, we can turn into a unified voice in the crowds.
Mm-hmm. And then
using our persuasive abilities.
Yeah, and Tarm is definitely a key person to find and just gauge him, even if he's competent. See if we can't change his tune as well, so people aren't leaving the city.
Locating Tarm's going to be difficult right today. So I'm just trying to figure out what you're going to do by the next day's morning.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, we'll do exactly what Gish mentions, and I definitely want to stop by the tavern and see if I can't bane the performers, and then take their place finally and get in the good graces of the crowd.
Okay, so we will role play the tomorrow evening. I'll let you all know what you find. Aiden, you didn't make a claim. Z and Maxine are there to accompany you if you want to do something differently.
Aiden is taking the equivalent of a religious spa day at the temple.
I like it.
Okay.
I like it.
She is going to do temple stuff.
Maybe
Can
talk
I
to
stay
G
here,
as well.
please?
So let's go. I'm going to go ahead and just quickly mark on the map so that we kind of know where people are. So we'll put Aiden down at the Harvest Home. Are you going to stay in your current inn, or are you going to, where are you going to be trying to drum up support? Realize that most of the people don't take part in the politics, and they're just farming in the fields.
It sounds like this inn's our best hub point to Gesh, at least.
So what are you doing, Gus? You're staying at this particular inn?
I'm going to use this. Yeah, I figured this sounds to me like this is the most. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, short answer,
The most
yes.
populous place, yeah.
Yep.
Okay, and I'm just trying, like I said, I'm doing a quick thing real quick to just make sure I put everyone where they're currently at, so we remember at the start of the next game to kind of review what everyone's found.
Mm-hmm.
Does everyone feel like the map represents what they're doing at this point?
Yep.
Looks good.
Okay, so like I said, when we reconvene on Wednesday, I'll give you a feedback on everything that you've discovered in your when you've been out and about. And I guess the other thing is that both Miros and Naxine both kind of ask if there's something that you want them to concentrate on while you're gone.
I mean, if Naxine has any friends that might be able to assist us from the Lord's Alliance, I don't think we would turn our nose to such aid.
So she makes a comment. She goes, there's not a large Lord's Alliance presence here because of the Emerald Enclave tend not to want interference in their business. But at the same time, she's kind of like, if there were Lord's Alliance people here, not saying that there are, but if there are Lord's Alliance people here, what would you have them? What would you be interested in them taking care of?
I mean, if they were, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, please. I
was going to say if they could maybe poke their noses about and figure out if anything less than savory is happening in these parts, might come in handy knowing who those less than savory folks were.
Okay, so you want them to spy?
Yes.
She likes to. She's like you are, Jack. She's a really intelligent woman. You get the sense, but she knows the audience of the person she's talking with, and she cuts to the core and kind of has this slight habit of treating most people like they're 10 years old until they prove themselves otherwise.
Right.
Okay, so you want me to have them spy? I will see if I can rustle up some interesting folk. I'm not saying they're in the city limits, but we'll see what they can come up with.
Right. That's if the Lord's Alliance was present, and if there were shady folks in the town, this might be a good idea.
Okay.
Not confirming or not.
I can do that.
And maybe, sorry, just as an addendum to that, maybe leaving a message that corroborates the mayor Eladrin's information or request for more engineers or more help or more guards.
Okay. She's well aware that the majority of townfolk are trained to be farmers and not otherwise. So she while she takes your request to heart, she has a sense of like that is mission impossible compared to what Arjak is asking for. Miros also kind of says, "You haven't told me how might be able to apply my axe to this. Is there something you want me to try to track down?"
I mean, I figure you might know where supplies could be acquired. Because if there's holes in walls and holes in dirt, as has been said, we're going to need to make hasty repairs to that. And with only, a handful of engineers, we're going to need 1, folks who can at least follow instructions well, and 2, supplies to mend those holes.
He's like, the supplies aren't a problem because they already have them.
Okay.
So what else might I be able to help you with?
Folks who can spare a little bit of time to help with the repairs.
He's like,
Actually, how are you at training people?
To fight?
Yeah.
I've been known to. My name wasn't always Yeti. Sometimes it was Sir, if you get my drift.
Find a militia. Start training them underground. We're going to need people who can fight, and a lot of them.
How much time do you think we have?
Probably 2 days. I'm not sure.
He cackles, kind of laughs pretty loud. He's like, well, I'm sure they'll be able to figure out which side of the sword to hold. And he's like, but I don't know that we can teach much more than that in such a short time frame. But I will tell you that as far as I've seen a couple of, there have been times where long ago, there was about 20 years ago, we had an issue where some goblins somehow made it into the city. No one still knows how that came about. But I will tell you right now, there were probably 20 or 30 of them, and the town folk rallied quickly and took them out before any real damage occurred to the crops. but they were goblins. They weren't giants.
Understood. Well, I'll leave it to your good judgment. You know the people. You know their way around a weapon. See what you can do about forming a militia and seeing what you can do about getting them staying alive.
Absolutely, and I'm going to ask you, good sir, good dragonborn sir, that what we might need to worry about more is less training and more how do we keep them from fleeing.
Yeah.
So if you can think about that, I got to tell you, I know some things, but that's not one thing I know how to tell people. I usually am the opposite, rawr, and then they leave, right?
So, I like the rawr. That's a pretty good one.
So with that, everyone, we're going to go ahead and conclude tonight. My dogs outside are barking. I'm not quite sure if you can hear them or not, but man, they were ready to come back in, and I got to let them in. So see you Wednesday night. Thank you for everyone for coming. This was a hardcore ROLE playing day. I appreciate everyone's patience. A lot of combat is yet to come, and we will see you soon.